Yo, yo. Hey, we on a new day, a new wave. Come on now. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. Come on now. We all into the creepy stories today. Hey, this is gonna be actually kind of fire around like October, September. Creepy kind of. I could do like a marathon. Ooh, stop playing with me. Like a 31 days creepy mystery like stream or something like that. That'd be kind of tough. I think it'd be dope. But yeah, like I said, appreciate each and every one of you guys. We're gonna start off with the most terrifying first date in history. I was trying to do this one the other day, but things were just not happening. But let's get it.
We're here in a spooky field with a car on fire and a full moon and
I like this aesthetic.
weird house over the far side.
Yeah,
Have you got any stories that fit this environment?
I do. I have a really good one.
And if you don't have your true crime creepy story snacks ready, we have a problem.
From out in Utah in the 1970s. This is actually one of the earliest stories that I covered. Actually, this is one of the first ones. So we don't have the names of the people involved. So I'm going to call them a man and a woman, but this is every bit their story. We just don't use their names. I think they actually didn't want their names used. That's what I recall. So back in the 1970s, there was this young guy and young girl who were the main characters of the story, and I think they met in college, and they go out on this first date. They go to a restaurant, a diner.
Love you.
And they got along fine, but there wasn't any magic. It was, kind of a nothing date that they both kind of instinctively knew that this was likely not going to go anywhere beyond this first date. There's no chemistry. However, they both kind of intuitively noticed it. And the guy, towards the end of the date, when it's kind of like, okay, time to wrap things up now, he decided to take a chance. He figured, what's the worst that can happen? I already can tell this isn't going anywhere. And he says to his date, he says, do you want to do something kind of unexpected? Do you want to like go do something kind of crazy with me right now? And the girl was actually like kind of taken aback. She's like, okay, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, I oftentimes go for walks out in Provo Canyon, this beautiful canyon that's nearby. It's got this amazing trail. It brings you out to this overlook with this incredible view of the stars. Like, it's a really cool spot. And I go there, later in the day, and no one's there.
Story.
And it's
I've heard this story before. It was told differently, but I like the aesthetic and I like the vibe. But pay attention to the story. It's actually really good. It's a big twist.
pretty cool. But it's, we're hiking in the woods in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? And she's like,
oh, wow. Perfect timing for an ad, right? And she was like, this freaking...
no, it's like suddenly the date went from going nowhere to it's kind of exciting. And so now there's chemistry. That's like they're going into the unknown together. And so they quickly leave the diner. They hop in his car, and it's a short drive over to the parking lot where Provo Canyon is. He pulls into the spot. There's nobody there. They get out, and now there really is. They're getting along. They're kind of laughing, telling jokes. They're holding hands, and they walk right from the parking lot onto this paved trail that goes right into the forest. And so it's nighttime. Just a very this is a well used trail.
I'm just now noticing
goat trail in the middle of nowhere.
We are matching. Flannels up. If you don't have your flannels on, tripping.
Where this is a well-used trail. And so they start walking into the forest, and after a while, and this is something they would say after the fact, but we know this is what was happening. As they were walking, the feel, the vibe of the night really changed as soon as they got into the woods. They're excited. The states suddenly become exciting, and then they get into the forest. They're on the trail. They're holding hands. They're walking, and both of them began feeling this really intense dread as they're walking in. But they don't know each other. This is their first date. They don't have the background of a relationship to begin touching on something that's hard to point out. Neither of them turned to the other and said, I feel uncomfortable. Instead, they just kept their mouth shut and thought, okay, I'll just keep on going. So they stopped talking. They begin walking faster out of this kind of nervous energy they have now. They're holding hands, and they're just walking through this trail because they're trying to get to this overlook, basically get it out of the way and come on back. but it's all unspoken. They haven't said, boy, this is anxious. They're feeling that way. And so they're walking on this trail, again, surrounded by trees. There's nobody else out there, and it's pretty dark. They don't have a flashlight. And as they're basically speed walking at this point in silence, at some point they hear a rustling sound kind of off to the side. And at the exact same time, the guy steps on something that he described as being soft. And he stepped on it, and he has no idea what he's stepping on. No clue. It's something soft. And he's heard this rustling sound, and they're feeling anxious. And he immediately stops because he stepped on something. And the girl, she's sensing, okay, what's going on here? And without any communication, they turned and walked out. Didn't even look down. They had no idea what's going on. It was like they both knew, let's get the fuck out of here. I don't know what's going on out here. And they practically ran back to their car, totally safe. They get in their car, and now that they're in the safety of their car, they kind of begin laughing about it. Like, yeah, I wonder what that was. I stepped on something out there. I don't know. Something moving around. Maybe there's a big animal. I don't know. But that was it. It was just, that was the whole date. And actually, they wound up getting married because this date was like this kind of amazing thing. But they bonded over the fear of being in this forest. And so they get married, and 10 years later, they're at home, and the TV is on. It's tuned to like a Dateline type of show, like a true crime show. And neither of them are really watching. But an interview comes on, and it's a journalist talking to a death row inmate. It's a very famous death row inmate.
Listen.
And he's very near his execution date. And he's giving this kind of full-blown interview about, what he did. And at some point, the journalist asks him, was there ever a time that you almost got caught, before you got caught? And the serial killer is like, yeah, there was a time. I was out in Provo Canyon, and I just killed a girl, and I was trying to dispose of her body. And I dragged her across the trail, and this young couple comes turning around the corner, and they stepped on the body. And I was maybe a foot away holding her, looking up at them in the darkness, waiting to see what they were going to do. But for some reason, the couple didn't look down. They didn't look around. They just turned and left. And so that was it. That was the time I almost got caught. And so it turned out the guy, they had come in contact with Ted Bundy, like one of the most infamous serial killers of all time.
Crazy.
Who effectively said, had he investigated, he would have had to kill the couple.
Crazy.
It's crazy. So their first date was running into Ted Bundy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh my God.
And actually, if you're interested, there's several other close calls with Ted Bundy that if you Google close calls with Ted Bundy, he came close to killing people several times. And it's I don't have those.
The VW Beetle. There was something with the VW Beetle.
I forget what it was. Unfortunately, I don't remember all of the anecdotes, but there's quite a few that are. That one is the most startling because it's so like visceral what happened. But the others were, this girl who almost went on a date with Ted Bundy, but then got a bad feeling about it and canceled. And it like the day later he gets arrested for being Ted Bundy. Stuff like, or one person who Ted Bundy randomly befriended this woman, and I think they were dating for a while, and he was very close with her child, and it was, he's like in their family while he's killing other people at the same time. And then he just broke up with her and moved on. Like he didn't do anything to her or her family while he's actively killing all these women. But for some reason, he just had this normal family, happy, wholesome relationship with this girl for like a year.
Wild.
And she would find out after he was executed that she was actively dating a serial killer. So it's just...
See, and that's why there's a lot of people, when it comes down to, oh, he wouldn't hurt a fly, while they're getting, prosecuted for everything that they've done.
Ted Bundy had all these weird interactions with people that have been documented, but that one, to me, is the most startling.
In other news, this episode is brought to you by Momentous. If you've been struggling to fall asleep on a nighttime, their sleep packs are absolutely fantastic. It's got an evidence-backed blend of magnesium L-threonate, apigenin, and L-theanine that will help you fall asleep more quickly, stay asleep throughout the night, and wake up feeling more rested and revitalized in the morning. I use them every single night, and they are super convenient to take on the road. Also, they are NSF certified, which means even Olympic athletes can use them. And Dr. Andrew Huberman is the scientific advisor. So if you've ever wondered what supplements Andrew Huberman takes or what he would create if he could, this is the answer. Also, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can buy them, try them, and see if it impacts your sleep for 30 days. And if you do not like it, they will give you your money back. Plus, they ship internationally. Right now, you can get a 20% discount off everything site-wide by going to the link in the show notes below.
I'm not sure if you guys have watched
Play War Thunder now. Join millions of
any dark web type true crime stuff. It's extremely interesting.
Matthew Falder.
the wide eye type, and then the receding hairline. That is like the protruding factor of a lot of serial killing for whatever reason.
29. Once a promising academic, descended into extreme depravity, blackmailing and humiliating his many victims into performing ever increasingly despicable acts on themselves and others. Hidden behind a veil of false dark web identities, he became notorious in extreme online circles.
The guy narrating this thing is wild. You'll never unhear it now.
Sharing vile content on hurtcore websites, and in return gaining exclusive access to illicit materials. He preyed on individuals regardless of age or gender, yet he never physically met his victims. His ruthless desire for control and his relentless cruelty have inflicted deep and irreversible damage, making this case one of the most harrowing and disturbing I have ever covered. I remember when Falder was arrested, and I was shocked and disgusted by his crimes. It always stuck with me, and the only reason I haven't covered this case already is because I assumed it was already well known. But as it turns out, I don't think it is. Falder is everyone's worst nightmare from the dark web. He's relentless and ruthless, and his only goal is to take everything away from you. He wants you to be terrified, and he wants you to feel like there's no way out. Be warned, this is a rough one. But before we dive in, I want to let you know about my second channel, Grim Tales. I'm sure that if you find this content fascinating, then you'll feel the same over there. A link to the channel is in the comments section and the description of this video. As ever, please drop this one a like and subscribe if you are new. Thank you. This video is created solely for educational and documentary purposes. It does not endorse or condone the criminal actions described within. Matthew Falder, born on October 24th, 1988, in Manchester, England, enjoyed a privileged upbringing in the tranquil town of Knutsford, Cheshire. His family's comfortable lifestyle was supported by his father, Stephen Fowler, who led the UK's largest independent paint manufacturer, HMG Paints.
Oh, so
A
this boy has
standout
some money.
student from a young age, Falder attended the private King's School in Macclesfield before furthering his education at the prestigious Cambridge University. At Cambridge, his peers knew him as a confident, humorous individual with a magnetic personality, and he earned respect. Falder's potential was evident as he embarked on a postdoctoral research career in geophysics at the University of Birmingham. His academic excellence was not unnoticed. One tutor even remarked on his significant international contributions to the field and said he was one of the best students that they had ever taught. Throughout his first year at Cambridge, Falder began a decade-long relationship with a woman who was the same age but shall not be named. Despite the outward normalcy of their relationship, beneath the surface, violence was brewing within Falder, totally unbeknownst to his girlfriend. It was at university that Falder's crimes began, and over time they would escalate in severity. He started with covert surveillance of his female housemates, secretly installing cameras in the bathroom, as can be seen in this clip. He once confessed to a male housemate what he was doing, but when he's disturbing of a contrasting outward demeanour and a hidden dark reality,
weirdo,
his
bro.
fascination with unauthorized filming intensified to the point where he used his 21st birthday as a way for further invasions of privacy. He arranged a bus trip for numerous friends from Cambridge to visit his parents' numerous homes. This was a big party. Falder used this opportunity to capture unsuspecting women naked without their consent. Over time, Falder's actions became more depraved. He devised a deceitful scheme to ensnare victims, adopting the guise of Liz, a fictitious female artist on Gumtree and Facebook. He targeted individuals, advertising babysitting or pet walking services, baiting them with offers of up to £4,000 for nude photographs, under the pretense of needing them for therapeutic charcoal sketches. He told them, as Liz, that her therapist had told her that this would help her, and that once she was done, she would destroy the photograph and nobody else would see it. Falder was preying on vulnerable people who were desperate for money, and most of the people he would ensnare were young females. He chose Gumtree and Facebook for their ease of creating new profiles. Upon receiving the images, his true intentions surfaced. He was extremely computer savvy and was able to locate the victim's personal profile, and then he would blackmail his victims, threatening to distribute the photos to their families, acquaintances, work and schools, unless they complied with his increasingly degrading demands.
Have you done that?
No comment.
Have you sent pictures of your blackmail victims to the parents
No comment.
of the victim, the grandparents,
No comment.
the workplace,
No comment.
the schools?
No comment.
Falder coerced his victims into posing in humiliating positions, often holding signs bearing messages like, "I am a sex slave." He escalated his demands to the point of forcing them to record themselves, engaging in acts of degradation, such as making them go to McDonald's or train station public toilets and film themselves licking the toilet seat or brushes, or eating used sanitary products, or even dog food. He made them pose with photos of Hitler and make them sing extremely offensive songs, all for the purpose of future manipulation. The victims were never meant to comply with him. One young female
So he
sent
just
him
likes
over
control.
200 images, but it was never enough, and there was never an end unless they did it themselves. The impact of his actions was so severe and far-reaching as he widely distributed his content on websites for people with sinister interests like his, leaving lasting scars on the lives of the affected people. The website of which he uploaded the images to was called Hurt to the Core, which is on the dark web and known as the worst website in the world.
You have one day. These
The
dogs
dark
are-
web is for nobody to be on. That's a fact.
Dream website containing the worst kind of content you can imagine. Even before you sign up, the pre-registration disclaimer is too extreme for me to be able to read here. It is a place for the sickest individuals to share and push each other further into depravity. You get rewarded for uploads and how popular they prove to be, and Falder was top ranked on this website. He took great pride and got a sense of power from being so popular on the sick site. He had his own series of images, of which contained torture of the most vulnerable, which proved to be very popular. The content, I cannot stress enough, is as bad as it gets, and it's hard to believe that places like this really exist, but they do. Sickening. He uploaded images with text all about his victims. One of the victims, who sent him over 200 images, was threatened with those images being sent to her mother and school. The dialogue from the messaging between himself and the victim was screenshotted and uploaded to the website, as the audience got a sick kick out of her anguish. Falder also posed as a teenage female in an online forum and was able to convince a young vulnerable female from Eastern Europe to be his girlfriend. In an online exchange with another abuser, he said of her, and quote, "I'm thinking of just betraying her as harshly as I can to see how much I can mentally F her up. I think there is even a bit of a chance that she ends it all." Another victim was
That's
a young
insane.
female in foster care who was told her disabled brother would be taken away from her if she did not keep sending degrading photos. Falder forced her to pose with a sign that said, "I look after my disabled brother. Now I am being forced to strip." Harrowingly, he also managed to manipulate a young father into forcing himself on his son and filming it, to which Falder shared with his fellow sick friends.
Back that
The
up. What?
image
To which Falder shared manipulate a young father into forcing himself on his son and filming it, to which Falder shared with his fellow sick friends.
That's probably the most diabolical thing I have ever heard. That's so nerve-wracking, bro.
The images that he provided to you, have you shared them with anybody
That's
else?
super sad.
Have you distributed those images to any like-minded individuals on the forums we've discussed previously?
No comment.
Or with any other person?
No comment.
He also shared instructional videos on how to intimately abuse youths, as well as guidance on how to give youths sweets, which were soaked in urine or even more disturbing bodily fluids. In further posts, he wrote about arranging to meet a blackmailed victim for intimacy in a remote location, and told how he would make the person tie themselves to a tree, lock the bindings and throw away the key to ensure a slow and painful death. Falder also suggested a twisted game in which a curling iron would be inserted into a woman's vagina and could only be turned off if they answered a question correctly. He also posted a video.
This dude thinks he's the freaking Saw, bro. Low key, this is like real life Saw. This isn't what the. I don't even think I've seen a movie like. I'm actually kind of surprised, to be real with you. Like, that's crazy, bro. I mean, in a sense, I knew things like that do take place. Like, there are literal games that are premised around the Hunger Games. Hunger Games got it from the dark web. The dark web, they host Hunger Games, like real life people. Real life people that actually kill one another because there's people in high positions that pay money and capture people and have them play sick games and with their real lives. Wow.
Of a man repeatedly throwing a victim who couldn't swim into a pool, with them submerged for several seconds each time, and also spoke of fantasies of breaking victims' bones one by one until they slowly died. It is truly the worst of the worst. Falder prided himself on his notoriety as a blackmailer, frequently gloating to his victims about his supposed anonymity and elusiveness from the law, stating that he could never be caught. He used a network of encrypted email addresses and advanced Tor software, which gives anonymity online and hides your activity. It also facilitates access to the dark web. Additionally, he strategically utilized email accounts based in Russia, aware that such a move would create significant hurdles for the British authorities pursuing his case. He used usernames such as In the Garden, Evil Mind, 666 Devil, but in total he had 70 different online identities.
And it's become apparent that obviously that's an email account that's current and you're using at this moment in time. Is that correct?
No comment.
Is there any other email accounts, Matthew, that you're using at the current time?
No comment.
If there are any more email accounts, what are the passwords?
No comment.
In 2014, under the alias 666 Devil, Falder asked for suggestions from fellow Hurt to the Core users on methods to inflict torture on his daughter for what he called the week of suffering. In truth, Falder never had a daughter. These were in fact intended for another father that he was blackmailing. This disturbing questioning drew the attention of law enforcement and prompted an urgent worldwide investigation by various national crime agencies aimed at rescuing the girl in peril. The agencies involved were the Government Communications Headquarters, which is one of the 3 intelligence services in the UK, the US Department of Homeland Security, Europol, the Australian Federal Police, and the New Zealand and Israeli police. This investigation was so complex that it lasted for 4 years. And this was 4 years in which Falder was still extorting his victims and forcing them to create content. During this time, 4 of his victims tried to end everything.
You know what this is? Bro, this is evil Mr. Beast, bro. This is evil Mr. Beast. Because I thought about that one day. I was just like, what if one day, because with Mr. Beast, he likes doing videos that, you know, kind of push boundaries and whatnot like that, but in a positive way. But it gets a little bit more extreme the longer he goes. I don't even think, because he's so hyper asphyxiated on what he does, I don't even think death of somebody playing his game would even stop him. It would probably, like, you know, he'd send his condolences and probably take a little break, but I feel like he would still get back at it. But this is like real life Mr. Beast if he was evil. That's insane.
And everything. Once the investigation was nearing completion, they had an address in Birmingham, England, and the name Falder. Before they arrested him, they had to observe him using the laptop, as can be seen here. They did this to prove that he was the man behind the screen, as he never met any of his victims in real life, which is actually amazing and infuriating when you consider what depraved acts he forced people to do.
Think if he actually, like, used what he knew for good, or was a director of movies or shows or what, like, in a better way than this. It doesn't have to be creepy or whatever, but he's obviously extremely smart. But usually people that are really smart do a lot of dumb stuff. So, is it really smart? Is it really intelligence?
On June 21st, 2017, authorities detained Falder at his workplace. The arresting officers observed that he seemed stunned and at a loss for words, struggling to comprehend the unfolding situation. When they handcuffed him, Falder downplayed the severity of his actions, claiming that he was innocent. He attempted to rationalize his use of the dark web, suggesting a mix-up, saying he used it to prevent his girlfriend from discovering his online activities, such as seeing images of other women. When he asked what he was supposed to have done, the officer read a few of his charges, to which he replied,
"Sounds like the rap sheet from hell."
Upon his arrest, the police discovered 484 illicit images.
There's nothing better than
Got
a
his
game.
butt. Hey, he's lucky he didn't get beat up at the same time.
Falder's computer,
I'm pretty sure it happened in prison, but you know.
in his flat.
He's probably holding somebody's pocket at this moment.
Further investigation into his online activities revealed that his uploads to the Hurt to the Core site had earned him VIP status, a grim reward to the nature of his contributions. This led to Falder being charged with 188 offences,
You're not getting
underlining the extensive and serious nature of his criminal conduct.
Yep, you're not
It is
getting out.
believed
Thank
that
God.
Falder had between 60 and 180 victims.
Oh my gosh.
NCA senior investigator, Officer Matt Sutton, said, "In more than 30 years of law enforcement, I've never come across an offender whose sole motivation was to inflict such profound anguish and pain. Matthew Falder reveled in it. I've also never known such an extremely complex investigation, with an offender who is technologically savvy and able to stay hidden in the darkest recesses of the dark web. This investigation represents a watershed moment." Will Kerr, NCA Director of Vulnerabilities, warned, "Falder is not alone. There are many other users of some of these dark websites that we are very concerned about." Cambridge University, which said it was appalled at the crimes, was actively pursuing stripping him of his qualifications, in a very rare move for the institution. Birmingham University said it was deeply shocked and distressed to hear
I mean, stripping him up, he's in prison, so I don't understand what that would do, but for sure.
of the offences. A Gumtree spokesman said it welcomed Falder's conviction, adding that it takes safety of its users extremely seriously. In court, a victim told that she was approached by Falder on Gumtree after advertising for nanny work to support her studies. Falder, under the guise of Liz, offered her money for nude photos. Once she complied, Liz, in reality Falder, began to threaten her, claiming he had tracked her down on Facebook, knew her friends and her address. The victim was bombarded with daily messages from Falder from the moment she woke up until she went to bed, instilling a relentless sense of fear. She felt alienated from her family, believing they couldn't possibly understand the trauma she had endured. The humiliation of the images made it impossible for her to share her plight with them. She spoke of the unique torment of psychological manipulation. She said, "I felt that no one would understand me because there was no one there holding a knife to me. The ordeal left her feeling isolated and impairing her relationships with her friends and family." She spoke of the difficulty maintaining close connections when trust is fundamentally shattered. At one point, she no longer wanted to go to school or be at home because she knew Falder had her addresses. On October 16th, 2017, Falder admitted to 137 charges involving 47 individuals. Will Kerr, an officer with the National Crime Agency, said that throughout his 28-year career, he had never come across an individual as dangerous as Falder. Phil McKay, a BBC journalist with 25 years of experience covering numerous trials, echoed this sentiment, stating he had never heard testimony as abhorrent as that presented at Falder's case. During the trial, which spanned 3 days, Falder remained emotionless. It took the court 35 minutes to read out the entirety of his crimes.
I mean, I would figure he'd be pretty cold and just emotionally distant because you have to be so heavily desensitized to make people do that morally, rather, and be okay with that. That's what the
February 17th, 2018, Judge Philip Barker handed down a sentence of 32 years imprisonment with an additional 6 years on extended license upon release. The judge branded him an internet highwayman, adding, "You wanted to assume total control." 2 years imprisonment with the entirety of his crimes. On February 17th, 2018, Judge Philip Barker handed down a sentence of 32 years.
Bro, 32 years for that?
Imprisonment with an additional 6 years on extended license upon release.
That's good,
the
Sleepy.
judge branded him an internet highwayman, adding,
So
"You wanted to assume."
So they said 32 years plus 6 years. 2017. Hold on. That is not enough, brother. Only 38 years. So he'll be getting out. He'll be getting out 2055. That is not enough.
Total control
Get
over
out year
your
3000,
victims. Your behavior was cunning, persistent, manipulative, and cruel.
What's up,
For the
Chelsea? How you doing?
victims, he said, the damage is ongoing for these individuals.
Appreciate
it will
y'all
never
stopping
end,
by.
knowing the abuse caused by you still exists in other unknown persons' computers. The judge also concluded Falder was a dangerous offender, adding, "These sentencing remarks underplay your relentless, obsessive desire to continue committing offences." This case left a lasting impression on law enforcement and journalists alike due to the disturbing nature of the crimes. Despite a promising start in life, Falder's descent into criminality was profound. His initial 32-year sentence was reduced to 25
After all of that, it got reduced to 25, bro. Dude, if they cannot see the problem with that, that is absolutely insane. To still be able to do this.
appeal, a decision that caused a lot of controversy, considering the nature of his crimes. This case shows the horrific potential for how the internet can be exploited for malevolent purposes.
Thanks.
And the enduring scars left on the victims of these heinous crimes.
Oh my gosh. That was insane.
911, what is the address of the emergency?
Stop!
What is happening?
I don't know. There's blood
Okay, how do you, what do you mean there's blood everywhere? What happened?
he's not breathing, okay? I don't know.
I'm scared. I just want someone here.
The girl you just heard is 24-year-old Taylor Gould. On October 13th, 2013, she, her boyfriend Rahul, and their friend Mark came to apartment.
Why you say it like that, Rahul?
No! I'm scared.
Rahul?
I just want someone here.
Rahul.
The girl you just heard is 24-year-old Taylor Gould. On October 13th, 2013, she, her boyfriend Rahul, and their friend Mark came to apartment 1601 to celebrate Rahul's birthday. However, nobody could have ever expected how this seemingly normal night would end.
Oh my god. What happened? Somebody was murdered. I know. You have to have some explanation. Did you kill Mark? I don't think so.
I don't know what happened to them. I mean, if I wanted to stab Mark, I would have remembered every detail of it. What happened? Okay. Did you stab Mark or no?
Why would I attack someone?
3 friends, 1 dead, and the other 2 claim not to know what happened. However, one of them hides a disturbing secret, and unless the police can figure out what happened in apartment 1601, it will forever remain a mystery.
Some people are going to do whatever they have to do in order to try to save themselves.
One of them had to do it.
To say that you don't know what happened when somebody gets killed violently is unbelievable.
Stabbed.
I know my brother. He didn't do this.
One of them did it.
God.
It is October 13th.
All right, so now it's like, did they do it together and they're just both acting like they don't know? Or did the chick do it, but then, like, was somebody sleeping or watching? Because all 3 of them are in the hotel together. One just watching somebody get stabbed, and they're like, oh, that's crazy. Because that's very intentional.
2013. At 2 in the morning, law enforcement gets a disturbing 911 call. When the first responders arrive at the scene, Taylor Gould greets them at the door and remains in the hall alongside the police. As they step into the apartment, they have no idea what awaits them inside. The first sight of the scene reveals a shocking mess.
The police come into this efficiency apartment that's all bloody. I see a dead guy with a lot of blood on him.
The blood is all over the apartment. A 23-year-old student, Mark Waugh, lies dead on the floor with multiple stab wounds. His best friend, 24-year-old Rahul Gupta, who is completely covered in blood, appears drunk. He keeps mumbling and walking in circles. When police officer Skiba approaches him, he is in shock when he hears what Gupta is saying.
Gupta was laying right here. He kept rambling and talking in circles. I do remember him distinctly saying to me, I caught my buddy and my girl cheating. I killed my buddy.
Case closed. We already, you know what I'm saying? He told on himself. There you go. Come on. Hey, look. He just told on himself. Raul
claims he did it because he caught his girlfriend Taylor cheating on him with Mark. However, clearly under the influence of alcohol, it's hard to know if his confession is believable at the moment. He's immediately put in handcuffs alongside his girlfriend Taylor.
I think everybody could agree that when you are under the influence of alcohol, you tend to be a little bit more honest than you usually are. So, he just told on himself. Effortlessly. That's the case closed.
At around 5 a.m., Taylor Gould and Rahul Gupta reached the police headquarters.
So,
there, they encountered
Rahul and the girl were our boyfriend, girlfriend. Mark is the friend. And what's said right now is that Mark and her had a thing and cheated, and Raul found out about it, but Raul was drunk and all kinds of stuff, blood everywhere in the hotel room when the police came in, and apparently he alleged that he killed his friend after mumbling and rambling on for some bullcrap in front of the police, but the police didn't take it as his word because he was under the influence. So that's where we at right now.
Encountered Detective Paula Hamill, an experienced interrogator.
That's what I'm saying. It definitely could have been the girl to like hide some stuff because Mark could have said that he was gonna tell Raul. and then the girl killed Mark to like, I don't know, but then it comes to the fact is like nobody was coherent besides one person, because both of them are saying that they don't know what happened when they're getting interrogated.
They were both brought to headquarters as suspects.
Both are under the influence of alcohol. They still can't remember the details of the last night.
How smacked do you have to be
I'm really
to like not
sure
remember
what
anything?
happened between when we got there and when the police got there. It's kind of that I don't remember what happened.
However, the detective has a suspicion that the young couple knows more than they're telling right now. Since Rahul Gupta confessed, Detective Hamill still considers him the main suspect. However, little does she know what will unfold when she turns her attention to Taylor Gould.
Uh-oh. She might be in a mastermind.
Honestly, I just wish I knew what happened. I'm kind of hoping you can... will you be able to or not?
So what's funny, already just based off the 2 seconds of her saying that, in comparison to the guy seems more like physically and emotionally distressed. She has her just body posture. She has her arms crossed. Oops. She has her arms crossed like this, just like, I don't know what happened. Like, she could very much well be the one who done did it. She could very much well be the one. I don't like her. I don't like her body language. Her body's not bodying. You feel me?
Be able to fill me in with what happened. Actually.
Facts. You said she did it.
Because clearly something happened.
Yeah.
And I know that you're remembering like something with video games, and then next thing you know, Rahul is telling you to call the police or whatever. But there's a big gap of time in between there where something happened. Okay, and I believe that you know what happened, and that's something that you need to tell me about. Okay.
Yeah, but we were drinking.
I understand that you were drinking. Okay, I understand that.
Okay.
But Mark is dead.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god. What happened?
So that's what we're trying to find out.
How did he die?
I don't know.
You don't?
I don't know yet. Well, there's a lot of blood.
I don't like her response. Her body's not bodying. We're gonna watch that one over again. Let's reassess. Let's reassess the body language. Oh my gosh.
We're drinking.
I understand that you were drinking. Okay, I understand that. Okay. But Mark is dead.
What?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god. What happened?
So that's what we're trying to find out.
How did he die?
I don't know.
You don't?
I don't know yet. Well, there's a lot of blood.
He was okay.
Right. Well, I'm sure that you would like to think he was okay.
I would be crying if one of my great friends happened to die once I awoke from a great night, what I thought was a great night, and was dead. I don't know about that one. I'd be extremely distraught, but I'd probably be in tears for sure. Yeah, the girl is on she's not a good actor, I don't think.
Okay. But you're a smart girl.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm sure that it was pretty clear at your apartment when he's not moving.
No.
And there's all this blood.
We were drinking. I don't remember. All I remember is Rahul telling me to call 911.
Right. Like, why would Rahul get so upset that he would do something to Mark?
I don't think he would. That's ridiculous. That's crazy.
She killed Mark because she had an affair with Mark, and Mark didn't feel good about that happening, and he was going to tell Rahul. And because he was going to tell Rahul, she got mad and scared and got to hacking. That, come on now, case closed, baby. Scooby and the gang, let's go.
Did you? Were you in bed?
Dubs in the chat. Dubs in the chat. Poll.
At all during the night?
No.
I gotta figure out how to do a poll.
Did you
Let
sex
me
with
see.
Mark? Anything happened with Mark during this last night?
No.
That would have made Rahul angry?
No. No.
I mean, obviously I'm going to talk to Raul and find out,
Yeah.
like, what happened, you know, or what he says. I mean, what's he going to tell me?
You making, all right. Tiana, okay, so A, the girl did it. B, the guy did it. C, they both did it. At first I was saying both of them did it. But now I'm thinking A. She just seems way guiltier. If that's even a word. She's just the most guilty to me. And I feel like she's just trying to be cunning and trying to play a role. Because she's not hysterical. And not saying that she has to be necessarily. Everybody deals with, emotions differently, but it's just not playing with me. Yeah, I'm going with A. Is everybody going with A? I wish I could set up a poll in here. I'd be like, all right, this is what it is. That'd be super cool. A? Okay. All right. A's in the chat. All right, let's I'm gonna go A. I'm gonna go A.
I don't know, but I know that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She could be the mastermind.
When she is done with Taylor, Detective Hamill turns her attention back to the main suspect, Rahul Gupta.
Rahul, bro, I can't get over that.
Okay.
Of course.
So I'm just going to talk to her and try to figure out what else, because it's not exactly what she told me, I mean, she'd tell me that she did, when I talked to her already briefly, and she certainly wasn't indicating that there was any
friction,
anything between her and Mark or anything. She said it was Josh.
Well, I mean, it's totally possible that nothing was going on between them. But I know for a fact that I did not stab Mark.
Okay.
I mean, if I did that, I would know.
Actually, you're saying you don't know what happened.
Wait. Let's back that up.
Called him.
So he already has an idea that they might be messing around. That's a big red flag.
But I know for a fact that I did not stab Mark.
Okay.
I mean, if I did that, I would know.
Actually, you're saying you don't know what happened.
Oh my gosh, I keep missing it.
If I did that, I would know.
Actually,
you're saying you don't know what happened.
You don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened between Tehe and Mark to cause him to be on the side of the bed when I found him like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for a fact that I did not do that. I mean, if I wanted to stab Mark, I would have remembered every detail of it. I would have remembered coming up to him, confronting him, and stabbing him. But
I'd be like Cardi B. What was the reason?
You know what happened to him, but I know for a fact that I didn't do all of that.
Right. I mean, I would understand if you did. I mean, I
would understand too. I mean, I didn't stab him. I didn't attack him. I didn't
How do you
confront
know that
him.
you didn't get in a fight?
Playing devil's advocate, if you don't remember anything from the time you leaving wherever it is, by the time you get to the hotel and you just crash out, and then you wake up in shackles in an investigation room, then your friend died, blood was all over you, and your partner over here, your friend, has blood all over him too. There was 3 of y'all, one of y'all dead, or your other buddy is dead. How can you explain yourself? That is also a tough situation. They both sound guilty. They definitely do. She stabbed him, and this guy witnessed it for sure. But then you have to ask yourself, why is he just witnessing the stabbing? Because the question was asked about, like, did you know if there's anything going on? More so alluding to if his girlfriend and Mark had a thing or they slept together. It's like the root of why that decision was made, whether it was together or done separately, it's wild, because now you got to be like, all right, so who was awake to stab someone, and or y'all guys did this together? Because I don't know. I'm still saying it's the girl.
Didn't happen.
Still saying it's the girl.
Well, I don't know what happened between Tehe and Mark, but I do know for a fact that I was doing my own thing, and then when I was alerted to the situation, I went to Mark.
Whoa.
That's what I do. I don't.
So he was awake, alerted of the situation. I'm breaking this down to the spec.
I don't know what happened between Tehe and Mark, except for the fact that she was definitely hesitating a little bit when I yelled at her to call the police or paramedics or whatever it was. So that's what I remember.
Now, Gupta claims he definitely did not kill Mark. He remembers chilling on the couch, feeling buzzed and high when he suddenly heard Gould's disturbing screams.
So he said, what if the guys had a thing that pissed her off, and he woke up to a dead guy next to him, but he just said he was awake. He just said he was awake. He was awake. Everybody's awake. That's the biggest thing right now. Because at first I thought someone was just passed out drunk. But both of them are awake. Mark is dead. But he's saying that he heard something in the other room or whatever, and she hesitated to call the police once he found out what happened. That's highly suspicious. So suspicious. So suspicious. My plan B is they both, you know what I mean? But then it's like, why though? Hey, some people got some wild situations as far as why they do what they do. He's not making eye contact. That is a fact. That is a fact. And now that he was awake is on the table, this is big.
Startled, he glanced up and saw Waugh covered in blood. Acting quickly, he rushed to help, attempting to stop the bleeding. Although he doesn't exactly remember what happened, he feels suspicious about Taylor being hesitant when he yelled at her to call the police.
I can't say what happened.
See how it's hard for me to wrap my head around that?
Sure.
After several hours of interrogating Gupta, Detective Hamill still thinks Gupta is the main suspect. She believes Gupta's initial confession was truthful. While Paula is interrogating the suspects, other members of law enforcement are doing their best to figure out what happened last night at the crime scene. It was Gupta's birthday, and he went out with some of his closest friends, including his close friends Mark Waugh and Josh White, and his girlfriend Taylor. They went bar hooping, hitting 3 different spots in endless rounds.
They have to purposefully be saying the words wrong, because nobody ever said bar hooping in ever. Bar hopping. What? 2 O's, bro? Picture bar hooping, bro. Nobody's making any shots.
Of drinks. As the night went on, the atmosphere took a strange turn around midnight, particularly at Buffalo Billiards. Josh would later recount how Taylor got a bit too friendly with him.
Wait.
She has a tendency to be a little flirtatious to rouse.
Endless rounds of drinks. As the night went on, the atmosphere took a strange turn around midnight, particularly at Buffalo Billiards. Josh would later recount how Taylor got a bit too friendly with him.
That's a
She
big
has a
red
tendency to
flag.
be a little flirtatious to rouse friends. And I just asked her, like, straight up, like, what's the deal? Like, you know, you're a little flirtatious. And she said I couldn't do that to Rahul. You know, I love him very much. It sounded like I was hitting on her, and so he took that very bad way. He was pretty pissed off.
Ooh, come on. That's a big clue. That's a big clue. He already got a flirty girlfriend, which more than likely means that they don't, stand on equal terms. Also meaning that it's happened before, and also meaning that he was very fed up. Something that his friend just said. That's a big red flag. Oh, good. Appreciate you. Shout out to the Stray Kids. Come on now.
However, when Taylor is later asked what she remembers about this, she tells detectives a slightly different story.
Josh was texting me and it was really weird and he was kind of hitting on me and
Josh was?
Yes.
Sensing the bad vibes,
Josh does not look like the guy to just pull up on somebody else's girlfriend, your friend. He doesn't give that energy to me. He don't give that vibe to me. I feel like I've never met a bad Josh in my life. I'm just saying. All Joshes have been pretty nice. Now Tyler's, what's another one? There's another one. But Kyle's and Tyler's are, boy, what?
Josh went back to his place.
But Josh?
While Gupta, Mark, and Taylor went to the apartment. In the security footage, they can be seen strolling through the lobby, heading for the elevator, just moments before the horrible tragedy. As they stroll to the apartment, they're visibly drunk and intoxicated. Despite the camera footage, the detectives can't tell if anyone looks frustrated or angry. All three of them appear to have good vibes. However, upon inspecting Mark's phone history that night, they discover a couple of strange messages he sent to his friend, apparently from the bathroom.
My night is becoming historically awkward, and I'm about to gnaw my hand off so I can leave in the ambulance.
Detectives are now completely sure there was some drama at the apartment. Since Gupta and Taylor shared the apartment, DNA and fingerprints won't be much help. However, there's other evidence in the play, and prosecutors believe it's what steers suspicion more toward Gupta. At just 5'5" inches and weighing 125 pounds, Taylor Gould doesn't seem like they could be the murderer.
Mark is considerably larger than her, was fighting back.
She doesn't have a mark on her consistent with being fought back.
She has no blood on her face, no blood in her hair.
Could she have washed up?
There are photographs that are taken within several minutes. Her hair is not wet, and she has her makeup on.
They also doubt the blood on her.
Okay, that's a big clue. That's a huge clue. That could turn my A to a C. C was what? Or was it A? No, it was B. B was that it was the boyfriend. My A is slowly turning into a B because that makes a lot of sense. Stabbing somebody takes a lot of effort. Like, it's not just that you poke them. Stabbing someone's flesh, muscle, tissue, bone, like, that's a tough job to do. And the fact that they brought up the fact how small she is, how much bigger Mark is actually bigger than both of them. Mark is a big individual. He's obviously coherent enough to be texting. So I'm pretty sure if he was getting attacked, there would definitely be a scramble for his life. So
there was no blood on her face, not a single drop in her hair. Although there is a possibility she changed her clothes and cleaned herself up, they doubt it because photos of the scene were taken just moments after.
Well, he said he's putting the blame on her. Yeah, he kind of is without actually saying it, which is weird. But dude was drunk. He was drunk, but drunk doesn't mean that you're incoherent. He could have been passed out. But he was just texting on the... We haven't gotten past it, but he was just texting on in the bathroom, talking about to gnaw his hand off because it's getting awkward or something. So he's still able to text.
After the 911 call came in. In photos, her hair is dry and she still has her makeup on. They insist she acted as any confused innocent would. When asked about the blood on her hands, she says she got it by touching Gupta. However, Gupta's defense attorney, Jennifer Page, doesn't think Gupta is responsible for the crime. Page reveals that Gupta was intoxicated and confused, leading him to confess in order to shield Taylor Gould from facing murder charges.
I think that he would definitely try to protect Taylor.
I mean, when you heard what he said to that first police officer who came in, what did you make of that?
Honestly, I didn't believe it.
You didn't believe he said those words?
Correct.
When she first heard about Gupta's confession to the police officer, she didn't believe it at all.
I believe that his initial statement was as truthful as he could have been. And then I think he spent the rest of the time trying to get away from that.
All right, so I always have this parallel or this contrast to where there's the side of me that wants to believe one side more than the other. But my first defining factor why I believe it's either side. So Gupta, he was drunk and he initially came out with it, telling the police that he killed his friend. But then the story changes, obviously, when he's sober, and then he talks about there being a ruckus in another room with his girlfriend and Mark. And then all of a sudden he shows up and he's dead and he tells her to call the police. Then with the chick, although there's no scratches, no marks, no this, no that, we also don't know necessarily how Mark died based on the slash wounds or stab wounds. And it could have been very effortless. But her body language is telling me, like, you're not, you're not really emotionally invested in it. You're just kind of here just until everything blows over or whatever. But I feel like my suspicion is going more towards Gupta or Raul.
Counsel Phil Armstrong reveals that as
missed the
Gupta
entire story.
sobered up,
Well, let me catch you up just really, really quick. Both these two are boyfriend, girlfriend. There's a guy named Mark. They all had a night out, was bar hopping. All of them were smack drunk. They went to the hotel. There was tussling and wrestling about from both sides of the story. So both of them are saying that they don't know what happened, or who did it. But Mark died due to fatal stab wounds. That's where we're at. In a
he
nutshell.
swiftly understood that taking the fall for Taylor Gould is a terrible idea. Consequently, he began talking with the detective, opting for honesty. Armstrong insists the evidence supports his client, beginning with the surveillance tape just before the murder. Mark can be seen laughing and getting along with Gupta. He believes that if anyone acted suspiciously that night, it was Taylor. Gupta's lawyers claim she dialed 911 only under Gupta's direction and provided minimal information to the operator.
What is the address of the emergency?
They point out that he's clearly in great despair, trying everything to save his friend's life.
Okay, so I did remember that. So from the beginning, the very, very, very beginning, that's how it opened up. As far as them on the phone and him telling Mark to come on, get up. He could have killed Mark and then acted as if. But how do you even tell that to a police officer and investigators that I don't know what happened? There's just the blade just got up and started stabbing Mark, and I didn't I don't. He looking kind of guilty to me.
Someone who stabbed his friend 11 times. Page and Armstrong assert that Gupta did everything in his power to save his friend's life. They claim the reason he was drenched in Mark's blood is because he gave him CPR. They also argue that most of the forensic evidence taken at the crime scene is useless due to the police's carelessness. They also suspect Taylor was behaving suspiciously last night, especially since she insisted she didn't deny killing Mark. Also, there's proof that she changed outfits twice before the first responders arrived.
How did the blood get on the dress?
Oh yeah, that's right. She did change out her outfit.
Mark before Raul, but I mean, I have no idea.
You had the wherewithal to change your clothes, yet you can't remember how you got the blood on you.
Wow.
The truth.
To add to his defense, Gupta's lawyers think photos taken at the police station indicate that Taylor might be the one responsible. There are 2 strange marks on Taylor's hand, located close to her little finger. As she possibly stabbed Mark with the knife, even with just a bit of force, there's a chance her hand might have slipped and hit the bottom of the handle. They also claim that Gould possessed enough strength to fatally stab Waugh, even though she is smaller in size.
When we asked the medical examiner who could do this, she said, quote, any healthy adult.
As the investigation unfolds, authorities suspect that Mark Waugh has fought the assailant, while legal representatives argue that Taylor Gould also appears to have engaged in a struggle. Gould's bloody and broken fingernails indicate a fierce resistance. Remarkably, one of her contact lenses adheres to the back of Waugh's jeans, suggesting proximity during the struggle. Additionally, a strand of long blonde hair, strikingly similar to Gould's, is discovered on the murder weapon. But it's not just on the knife. Long strands of blonde hair cling to a bloodstain on the wall and are even found in Mark Waugh's hand. The hair isn't tested, but everyone assumes it's Taylor Gould's. Yet, prosecutors argue that it's irrelevant because she lives there. Furthermore, they
said this live deserves more views. I love this guy. Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate the love. Thank you very much. Agreed that interaction interest makes this worth it. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Much love. Thank you. I'm trying to do this more often, though. I feel like it's more of a community, and we can engage a lot more real time.
They believe Gupta would not take the blame for Taylor because their relationship was in trouble lately. To back this up, they find text messages suggesting their recent arguments. Messages like, "Our sex life may not be salvageable," and "You shouldn't have to make yourself have sex with me," were found on their phones. Although they were fighting, it's clear the couple also cared for each other. There were messages like, "I love you," and "I wouldn't trade my time with you for anything." Even though their relationship had problems, those messages showed the investigators there their love wasn't fake. After a thorough investigation, the prosecutors are now convinced Taylor Gould is innocent. However,
boy Mark
to get
is off
more
a
details
beam,
into
boy.
the details of the last night, Detective Paula Hamill decides on a strange tactic. She lets both suspects talk to each other.
That was probably the second time in 10 years that I had done it. Maybe one of them would say something that would make us go, "Oh, did you hear that?"
What happened?
Okay.
Yeah. What happened? Okay.
I don't know.
What happened to Mark?
I don't know. That's what I told them because I don't remember anything past confronting you about Josh and then you screaming at me to call 911. And that's what I told them.
Where's our lawyers? I've been here all night.
Do you want me to ask for them?
Yeah. I want to get out of here. I want to poop. I want to eat. I'm hungry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That is a prime tactic of being in an investigation room. Like, it's plain walls, plain everything, just a bright light and a camera. You're just sitting in there, and they will have you in there for hours. They'll have you sitting there for like maybe 3 or 4 hours before you talk to one person. You will be in, oh my gosh, they will break you psychologically. They say, "Oh, you're hungry? Oh. I just ate lunch."
Said that you thought that we were...
Did you stab Mark or no?
I don't think, I wouldn't do that. Why would I attack someone?
Hey, why did you hesitate when I asked you to
I
call
don't know,
911?
because I was I guess in shock. All I remember is you yelling at me to call someone.
I want my lawyer, dude. I can't stay here. I'm hungry. I need to eat.
Okay.
Mark, I did not stab him.
I don't think I did either. I really don't think I did. I don't think I did anything.
Fine, dude. Just go out there and tell them that I want my lawyer and I want to get the fuck out of here.
Okay, is it out of the question to even ask if you're okay?
It's lowly likely that anybody gets out scot-free. Somebody has to take this, and investigators are not going to let this go. Like, they're not gonna be like, well, since we can't find anybody, like, somebody's dead and somebody did it. In the story. Yeah, they definitely make you look like you're crazy. They ask you the same questions over and over again. Yeah, but they'll definitely ask you the same question, like based on the tonality of your voice and how you said it the first time, and they have everything on record. So it's just, man, it's hard to keep a lie if you lying. It is very hard because this will go on forever.
Right now, I need to out of here, dude. What happened?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm freaking out, okay? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know what happened.
Strangely, Rahul Gupta stays calm and composed during their interaction. However, he expresses no sadness at all. His childhood friend just died, and his response is he's tired, hungry, and wants to go home to take a shower. Although Gupta...
That is a big red flag, though. Because not only... Because I'm also paying attention to how he's phrasing his words. He didn't say, did you stab him, or I didn't stab him. But the dude's dead. So somebody killed him. The action of somebody... You don't say you that's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like... Did you kill him? You know what I mean? That's what I said. Did you kill him? Like, what'd you do? Like, why'd you do it?
denies killing Mark. Taylor, on the other side, doesn't quite deny it. As the meeting between them concludes, Taylor tells the detective another strange statement.
You know, if I did it, I don't want him to get hurt in this process.
After 5 hours at the police headquarters, Gould finds herself released. Meanwhile, Gupta is soon charged with the murder of Mark Waugh. At the outset, it's hard to trust either of them. However, the scales tip in favor of him being the one behind the murder, with mounting evidence against him compared to her. The prosecutors also believe it's very unlikely they did this together.
Is there any chance that Rahul and Taylor did this together?
No. I don't believe knowingly that they did this together.
A year and a half later, Rahul Gupta steps into the courtroom, facing the charges. The cameras aren't allowed. After the trial, Gupta's sister, Shireen, is asked whether she thinks her brother is guilty.
Did your brother Rahul Gupta kill Mark Waugh?
No, he did not.
And you're certain of that?
I'm 100% certain of that.
You'll always have somebody in your corner to say that you want her to fly. That's all I know. Everybody in everybody's corner, no matter who you are. Jeffrey Dahmer even had somebody in his corner saying he wanted her to fly.
Although Gupta allegedly admitted to the murder,
hey, I appreciate it. Super Wars are my favorite songs. Yeah, 5 and 1s are amazing. I'm trying to bring them back. You think it's the guy? That's where my main vote has been leaning to. I wanted it in a sense to be the girl, but the guy is looking kind of...
He changed his story once he sobered up. As the trial begins, his lawyers make some daring claims. They pledge that Gupta will testify, and they vow to prove that he's innocent. Instead, they assert that Taylor Gould is the true culprit. Gould isn't facing trial, but she's about to take the stand as a witness. Gupta's lawyers will examine her with questions of their own. The defense argues that Gupta got blood on him while he was giving CPR to Mark Waugh. They also claim Gould had plenty of blood on her, enough to be guilty. That includes spots on her dress and bra. Gupta's lawyers want the jury to pay attention to the blonde hairs found on the knife and in Waugh's hand.
What are the chances that there's going to be hair on the knife, hair in the hands, hair on the wall, and she says she has no involvement in this case?
They claim there's a big suspicion around her because her hair was on the murder weapon and in the victim's hands.
That is a fact.
And the fact she changed twice before the first responders came to the scene.
That is a fact.
As Gould steps in front of the jury, she isn't of much help either. Facing them, she simply claims she can't recall anything from that night. She says it's because she drank herself into a blackout. However, as she takes the stand in front of the judge, she denies killing Mark. She insists...
But to drink yourself in a blackout and then be able to change your clothes twice? I don't know about that one.
She couldn't have done it. However, when it comes time for Gupta to take the stand, the intensity rises.
People were just hanging on this guy's word, and it's a cliche, but you could have heard a pin drop.
Gupta stands before the court, his demeanor collected. He narrates the events. As I came home,
might have to rock with you on that one. Might be the
accusing
girl.
her of flirting with Josh White at the bar. He also presents something he hadn't disclosed to the authorities before. He says he tripped and hit his head moments before Mark was killed. As the trial goes on, prosecutor Patrick Mays steps up to challenge Gupta about how someone could get murdered in such a small space without him noticing anything. Furthermore, he presents another crucial piece of evidence against him.
And then he hits him with these texts about Taylor complaining about their sex life. And he's saying, well, you were willing to spend the rest of your life in prison for this young lady that is complaining to you about your performance in bed?
The defense quickly finds similar messages hinting that, although they had recent arguments, they clearly cared for each other.
And we gave them back very similar texts that indicated they had a very loving relationship.
Following this, the jury is presented with another recording. This recording could be the one that decides the case. After spending almost 15 hours in custody, Rahul Gupta reached for the phone. As he called his father, he started recounting the incident.
I have a free call from Rahul Gupta. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, I can. What happened? Where are you? I'm in jail. What happened? Mark and I got into a fight, and he tried to get a knife, and then I got the knife. Who did you get into a fight with? Mark.
He told on himself when the police came. Then the story changed. Then when apparently he doesn't watch any jail movies or nothing, but they record your phone calls, all of them. And he just told his dad that he got into a fight. And I guarantee you it was over the girl. Usually is. And that's how he killed him. That's how he killed him. He just told on himself. It's him.
It seems like Gupta confessed to holding the knife. At least that's what the lawyers think. But now it's time for the jury to decide on its own.
But then again, the hair on the knife is from the chick. I guess it. I'm so flip-floppy right now. Ugh. Was it the girl? Was it the guy? Was it both of them?
He's still traumatized by what happened. It doesn't make any rational sense.
It doesn't unless he's telling his father the truth.
The courtroom is at its highest. If Rahul Gupta isn't found guilty of Mark Waugh's murder, it could mean justice evades everyone, especially since the state has already cleared Taylor Gould of any involvement. In a dramatic turn of events, the jury reaches a decision in less than a day. They find him guilty. After the verdict, Waugh's family can't hold back tears.
Our son, Mark, all I can say is a gift from God. His murder was a sin, not just on his family, but on the community as a whole.
On the other side, Gupta's lawyers think the judge should have let the jury watch the video of Gupta talking to Taylor at the police station.
This is important stuff that goes right to the issue of guilt or innocence.
Although Shireen Gupta isn't satisfied with the final verdict, she feels grateful that she still has a brother.
At the end of the day, I'm grateful that I have my brother. You know, he's still somebody I can go and talk to, I can visit, I can write to him. While I can talk to my brother, you know, they can't talk to Mark.
At last, Mark's father gives the final statement.
His death is a tragedy that we must carry for the rest of our lives.
Do you think it's justified? That's the big question. Sticking with the answer. Oh my gosh. Oh man. To be real honest, it's never when it becomes the guy versus the girl. That one's a toughie. Oh my gosh. Because, all right, so say that it was both of them. We still good on the internet? All right, cool. So say that it was both of them, right? Is Raul protecting his girlfriend from going to jail? Two against one. Or what could have happened was the fight was going on between Mark and Raul. She was there. But it's like, how did she get her hair on the knife? Her just being around or whatever. But she still changed out of too close. So I think it was both. I think Raul is protecting his girlfriend for not going, and they're just kind of stuck to a story. Had her call the police because they were scared that they actually did it, and they both claiming that they don't know. I don't know how they thought this was gonna end, but someone had to get got. I feel like the girl changed her outfit since she was wearing a dress, but her clothes got bloody, so I don't know. Yeah, she changed twice out of her clothes. That's wildly insane. Like, you don't do that if you're like, she said that she was blackout drunk, but you can't be blackout drunk and confidently change your clothes. My underwear would be on my head. What? Killer doesn't realize he's being recorded on CCTV. Cops make disturbing discovery while searching. What a mass murder. Boyfriend took the blame. Yeah, I think the boyfriend took the blame. So both of them, because even if Raul murdered Mark and she was just witnessing it, she is just as guilty. Sadly enough, she's just as guilty. Obviously, she wouldn't have been killed by Raul, but because she witnessed it and is lying, it's wildly disturbing. Internet's darkest corners. Let's see what else we can find. Serial killers outsmart cops 30 years later. Dad installs 21 secret cameras. Days later, mom disappears. That's crazy. What happened to the apartment? I'm gonna have to go this one.
We haven't seen how bad this is going to get.
Do unseen.
I mean, everybody's talking.
You saw one that said unseen?
911, what is the address of the emergency?
Unseen. Where's that one? I don't see that one.
Pay attention to the woman coming out of her car in this footage. It was recorded in Lawrenceville, Georgia, on July 8th, 2011. This is 44-year-old mother of three, Nikki Liley. It might look like any normal evening being captured by her husband's security system, but this footage hides.
Oh, okay. Let's check out Unseen. I normally like to go to the most recent.
Let me ask you something.
Let's do most popular. Let's do that one. Most popular. She solved her own case. She's not dead. She solved her own case. Only her brother came back. Killer thinks he got away with murder. This one seems kind of crazy. This murder is like 5 years old, bro. Oh, it is. It just says 5 years old right there.
Let me ask you something. Do you know what a lie is? A lie?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's when you don't tell the truth and you do something bad.
Yeah, what happens when you tell a lie?
You get in trouble.
This is 5-year-old Patrick Morrissey. 5 hours before this footage was recorded, Patrick was at home where he lived with his adoptive parents, Kay and Joe Morrissey. Patrick was lying in bed, his eyes closed, but he was only pretending to sleep. That night, Patrick saw something he should never have seen.
I know earlier you said you knew something about some robbers or something.
On April 5th, 2010, the Morrissey family's picture-perfect life took a disturbing turn for the worst when 5-year-old Patrick woke up to the sound of his parents screaming.
And he put these little time things on my mom and my dad so they couldn't walk.
Patrick witnessed the nightmare that will be known as the worst case of home invasion the state of Florida has ever seen. And at only 5 years old, he will become the only person who could save his mom and put an end to the killer's reign of terror.
Wow, you're like a hero.
My mom said.
Plantation, Florida, April 5th, 2010. A horrible crime shatters the middle upper class neighborhood just outside of Fort Lauderdale. The
First
address?
off, Plantation for a city name is crazy. Plantation, Florida? Okay.
601 Northwest on 75th Terrace. The Morrissey residence. It's 10 p.m. Joe Morrissey dozed off in front of the TV. His wife Kay is still awake, working in her craft room. Their 5-year-old son Patrick is sleeping in the master bedroom. Something is about to wake him up.
Plantation Police Department, can help you?
Requesting a dispatch on a residential fire alarm.
The resident's last name?
Morrissey, M-O-R.
2 hours later, a little past midnight, Kay's daughter Christina, who lives 10 minutes away, wakes up to her cell phone ringing. Unusual for the late hour.
I was about to not answer it, and something told me to pick up the phone.
On the other end is her mother, but she can barely hear her with all the sirens and chaos.
She was just like, "You have to come here, you have to get here right now."
As she arrives, the road is blocked off. Christina jumps out of the car and runs down the street, pushing the officers out of the way, just to get to her mother.
I saw her standing in the middle of the road in her pajamas, completely covered in blood, and I just remember thinking how small she looked and how helpless she looked.
Kay is in shock, confused. She cries out the words, "He's gone, he's gone." But Christina has no idea who she means.
I thought she was talking about the people who had gotten to the house, and I said, "It's okay, they'll find them," and she goes, No, Joe is gone. They killed him."
Damn, to lose your life partner?
As she holds her mom in her arms, Christina can see the flames and smoke rising from the house. She learns that Patrick is staying with the neighbors, but she can't imagine what he went through.
You've been married for how long?
13 years. It's gonna be 14 this year.
While Kay Morrissey is being interrogated, her son Patrick is sitting alone in the next room, waiting for someone to come ask him questions.
It might be just easier to start with what happened from the beginning last night.
I was in my craft room and the TV was on and I heard a noise like something fall down. I look up, I saw him.
As the interrogation progresses, Kay Morrissey's credibility is challenged. The only other eyewitness is brought in for questioning. 5-year-old Patrick. Investigators hope he can prove if his mom is telling the truth.
Yeah, nobody deserves that at all, whatsoever.
Alright, Patrick. Let me ask you something. Alright?
Yeah.
Do you know what a lie is? A lie?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's when you don't tell the truth and you do something bad.
And what happens when you tell a lie?
You get in trouble.
I know earlier you said you knew something about some robbers or something.
Yeah.
What happened?
Robert attacked our house and my dad died.
Patrick doesn't fully understand that his father is dead, that the man who adopted him is not coming back.
Do another somersault so I can take a picture.
He was a very hands-on father. He was always doing something with Patrick. All the time.
That's hard to come by. Like, and I know, because there's a lot of broken households, a lot of broken families, to where you don't get, you know, both support or equal amount of support in one family. That, man. Because he won't be able to comprehend, like, really what's going on until he's probably, like, 10 or 11 years old, maybe.
Were you awake when this happened, or were you sleeping?
Sleeping? But I woke up myself.
Stop throwing that. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Throwing monkey wrenches. You said, imagine if it was the mom that did it. But I think they said that he saved the mom. Yeah, I thought I heard it right.
Oh yeah, and when you
And he put a gun on my mom and dad's
See?
head.
Boom. Debunked.
April 6th, less than 24 hours after the crime, Randy Tundidor, a 43-year-old father of 2 boys, is sitting at home watching TV when someone knocks at the door. He opens to find Detective Kendall from the Plantation Police Department.
The guy that is renting the townhouse is suing us because he said he slept on the stairs.
The man Detective Kendall finds at the townhouse looks frail and ill. He wears an oxygen mask and walks with a limp.
He has a history of being a professional tenant.
Detective Kendall can tell Mr. Tundidor is not in any condition to have committed the home invasion. It's clear to him this is not the man Kay saw the night before.
What's his name? Randy Tundidor. E-U-N-D as in David, I-D-O-R.
Without any other lead on finding another suspect, Kendall has to rely on the only information Kay has given them,
Expect the
his interrogation
unexpected.
at the Tund.
I feel like you're a little toxic. You have to be a little toxic to be like, yeah, I'm gonna just throw this one in just to ruffle a feather. Like, what?
Tundidor residence is recorded.
But facts, yes, you do have to expect the unexpected. That is an absolute fact.
Have you ever had any dealings with Mr. Morrissey other than being a tenant?
Yeah, well, right now I'm suing him because I fell down the stairs in the house because of lack of repairs. He stopped talking to me because of the lawsuit. When I met him, he seemed like a gentleman.
What time did you come home last night?
I was home most of the night.
Did you call anybody?
Actually, my son called me. He needed money, but I won't help him.
Which son?
Randy Jr. First off, he's wanted by the law. Secondly, he's a crack addict.
When police learn Randy Tundidor Jr. also has an outstanding warrant for parole violation, they ask his father where they can find him.
Okay, Randy. I'm gonna read you your rights.
Alright, where's the camera, the recorder, where's that?
It's being recorded.
Okay.
Randy Jr. seemed composed, very interested to know what information I had about the case. Very, very willing to talk to me.
I don't have no connection with this murder. I don't know who.
So if this dude was the suspected robber and a 5-year-old child was able to protect his mom from you, is wild. Book him just so everybody can know in the jail and beat him up because he got his hands put on by a 5-year-old child. However it was. I don't know how it was, but I'm going to say that the little man got hands. That's what's up.
Who did it? I want to clear my name because I did not commit this murder.
That is the best defense I've heard ever. I didn't do it. I don't know what happened. Cap.
Hours, but Detective Kendall is unable to tell if Randy is guilty or not. When Kendall tells him how
He tries to direct me the right way and I go the wrong way, you know? He's really a good man. He's a very hard worker. He's a stand-up guy. And he would never do nothing like this.
Honestly, I think you may be involved in it.
Okay.
That's why we've gotta clear the air.
And I understand.
You know what I mean?
Well, then we definitely gotta clear that.
Yeah.
The person of interest in the case of the professor killed is still in police custody tonight.
Tundador's father had little to say outside his shop.
He's my son. I love him to death, and I'm going to support him to the end.
the investigation is heading into a dead end. Police are unable to put Randy Tundador Jr. at the crime scene, and what's worse is that according to Kay Morrissey, there was also a second person there that night.
It was like a two-way radio, and he would talk back to it. And
were there people talking to him on it?
He didn't let them. He said, just listen to me, don't talk to me.
Police have only one suspect and no motive, and the more time passes, the more the chances of finding out what happened decreases. Without any further evidence, Joe Morrissey's murder would remain unsolved. April 14th, the funeral is held on a Wednesday morning at the St. Gregory Great Catholic Church.
My mom, she did not want his memory to be attached to that night, so that was why she insisted on it being a closed casket.
I did not want Patrick to see his dad in that condition at all. Patrick had a very difficult time understanding. He thought that he would look at an airplane and says, my daddy's on that airplane, he's coming home. That was very hard for me. Literally, my heart was just in pieces.
As the days pass, Patrick begins to notice that his dad isn't around anymore. Already at 5 years old, he begins to show signs of PTSD, but no one knows exactly what it is he saw.
Cute little kid.
I appreciate you calling us like that. You understand you're not under arrest, and you're here on your own free will.
Detective Kendall gets a phone call no one could have predicted. Randy Tundador Sr.'s second son, Sean, comes in with a shocking revelation.
You called us, you said that you know your brother, you know he's a lot of things, but you know he's not capable of murder. You said that you had some knowledge of...
Basically, I'm gonna tell you straight up, my dad did it.
This bombshell information...
What? He said straight up, I'm gonna tell you, my dad did it. I have never seen that ever before, not even in the movies. Somebody just telling their daddy. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. If he said, that's crazy, bro.
Changes everything. Sean now...
You said that you had some knowledge of...
Basically, I'm gonna tell you straight up, my dad did it.
This bombshell information changes everything.
That's
Sean
insane.
now has the detective's full attention.
That morning, Randy, my brother, turned on the news. And first thing when I turned on, murder and plantation, early this morning, women, whatever. Brother gets up and he walks to the back porch and starts smoking a cigarette. And I don't know, if family, you get instincts. You're not stupid. You know your family. You know what I'm saying? So I walked out in the back and I said, bro, tell me you had nothing to do with that. And he said, go talk to Dad. So I walked upstairs, surprised. So you seen the news? He said, you need to shut up. He said, 'cause I'll kill you if I have to.
That first off, saying that as a dad, and then when he goes to his brother, he's like, so what happened? And he just goes straight to go talk to Dad. If you have even cousins, but you have brother, sister, whatever, you know they just don't want to say anything, and you go talk to mom or go talk to dad. That's a clear-cut sign that you know what happened or know what it is. You're just not gonna say anything. That's crazy. What if he's saying that his dad did it because he's getting back at him for not giving him money? Unlikely, but just a thought. That is true. That is true. But the response. Let's go back to the response to the dad as far as he says allegedly.
Start smoking a cigarette. And I don't know, if family, you get instincts. You're not stupid. You know your family. You know what I'm saying? So I walked out in the back and I said, bro, tell me you had nothing to do with that. And
He said, let's go talk to Dad. So I walked upstairs, surprised. He seen the news. He said, you need to shut up. He said, because I'll kill you if I have to. I knew.
And remember, he came in willingly. I mean, yeah, he could have, you know, tried to do Uno reverse, but that's... Apples don't fall far from the tree. That's all I gotta say. Apples do not fall far from the tree. If the two sons are considered bad apples in a sense, the root, which would be the tree, the father, has to come from somewhere. And he already said he was having problems for a while with the landlord, which was the father of the other house. You know what I'm saying? So
when I saw that headline on that news, I knew it was them. So I asked my dad. I said, what happened? And his words were, a dead man can't evict me.
He's been a good father. Like he's really a good man.
He kind of looks like a mafioso or a kingpin. You know what I'm saying? He kind of looked like that. I'm not gonna lie. He kind of almost like I forget what is his name from Spider-Man, Kingpin. This is what he looked like.
And he's a very hard worker. He's a stand-up guy. And he would never do nothing like this.
He's gonna do anything and everything he has to do to make sure my father doesn't get killed.
Okay, so what I know from at least being a brother, I'm a middle brother. I'm a middle child. But I have two brothers. There's three of us. There's always gonna be what would be considered the favorite. Obviously, he's the older brother. So older brother, they don't have three, they have two. Older brothers are usually most hated. Not always, but in a sense of this story, most hated. The younger child usually gets favor from, the parents. So I could see the dynamic. I could see the contrast as far as that. One doesn't want them to go to jail. The other one is confessing, allegedly, that it's his father. I'm gonna have to go with the big brother, just because I'm one of them. So
because he loves him.
Sean, Randy Jr.'s younger brother, comes forward against his father. What he doesn't know is that his older brother Randy is in the next room, about to confess the same crimes.
Everything you said's been a lie. Your dad's they're crying.
Why is my dad crying?
Because of what you did. Come on, dude. I feel bad for your dad. Seriously, what happened?
That's psychological right there. They still don't know. They still don't know. A lot of times, either they have all the information or they don't. But they're going to act like they do. They're going to push the narrative aggressively just to see if you crack. Just to see if you crack.
Dude, tell me. You'll feel so much better if you tell me.
I didn't kill nobody, man.
Is Randy Jr. just taking the fall to protect his father? Would his father do the same?
He's my son. I love him to death. And I'm going to support him to the end.
I wanted the truth to come out, and I wanted him to pay for it. My father used to beat us bad. I mean, really beat us. One of the craziest guys you ever met. And they used to call him Rampage. I used to call him Scarface because he had a big ass scar on his face.
He says they caught him, not me. So you fix this or I will.
Come on, it's common sense, boss. You know what I'm saying? Like, my son's already caught, so I won't go to jail. Let me just throw everything on him. Nah, you can't let that happen either. I told them I could prove it. And they told me how, and I told them, give me a wire. What if I can get my father on tape stating that he killed the guy? Give me 2 hours with him. I'll find anything you want.
Detectives agree to give Sean a record.
Hey, that's a good play. So this would even allude to more why the older brother is, in the right. And police, they love this. They're like, oh, they will eat it up. They love anybody that will get extra information, be the inside person, so they don't have to use their own warm bodies, meaning their own force, to go and do the thing they already have somebody. I would ask for compensation though, because he already said that he needed money. But I would ask for compensation. I'd be like, yeah, I'm doing this, but I would like compensation. I'm actually a little down bad on some rent, but I'm willing to do it. That would be funny.
Recording device hidden inside a car key. That same night, Sean confronts his father at home. With one hand in his pocket, he activates the device and begins to question his dad. He knows the man has already murdered someone, and he remembers the threat he made him.
He said, you need to shut up. He said, because I'll kill you if I have to.
I mean, I was scared, but I wanted my dad to pay for what he did to his family.
For 2 stressful hours, Sean probes his father, pretending to be concerned for both his well-being as well as his brother's. The next morning, he returns the device to the police station, convinced he was able to get enough evidence to convict his father. But what he doesn't know is, did the device record it all? When police attempt to download the audio files, this is what they hear.
There was a lot of background noise, whether it didn't record properly or there was some sort of obstruction in the recording.
Test run.
It makes them question if they missed a golden opportunity, or if Sean was telling the truth. Finally, the audio reveals the conversation Sean had with his father. Police are about to discover the real mastermind behind the murder. On the night of April 5th, 2010, Randy Tundidor Sr. went to his eldest son, Randy Jr., a young man desperate to make his father proud, and he manipulated him to break into Joe Morrissey's house.
My dad pulls out $100 worth of crack, and he tells him to smoke it. When it was done, he told my brother he has a customer's house they can go rob and get cash and buy all the crack he wants. You're not asking my brother that, you're asking a crackhead that now.
He did this to his own son. Diabolical, bro. I think the father was the one talking to the other son on the walkie-talkie. Nah, it was definitely the older son. It was definitely the older son. But that's crazy, yo. He bribed his own son crack because he knew he's a crackhead, and crackheads are just they're gonna choose crack over their family, over any morals you're talking about.
My dad pulls out $100 worth of crack and he tells him to smoke it. When it was done, he told my brother he has a customer's house they can go rob and get cash and buy all the crack he wants. You're not asking my brother that, you're asking a crackhead that now.
When they search the premises of the shop called Gator Tint, which is owned by Randy Sr., they find more than just the computer from the Morrissey house. Zip ties, recently disposed of in the trash container.
Keep that or to both you? To me and my husband.
An empty box of hunting knives, two-way radios, like the ones the killer used.
And his little thing that he kept talking, that kept beeping, and he would talk back to it and...
Foreign currency bills left in a bucket, the same that was declared stolen at the Morrissey residence.
Oh wow. Okay. So this is what happened. The older brother wasn't a part of it. The father manipulated the younger brother by bribing him crack to rob the house that was his tenants, wound up killing the husband of the house via direction two-way radio. Little boy saves the mom from any other thing. Because the only thing that really happens in a robbery is either you rob them and you leave, or you rob them, kill them, and you leave. But because he probably got caught up, because I remember earlier in the story, the mom said that she heard something fall, blew his cover, therefore he had to protect himself. But you're in somebody else's house, they're getting robbed, things are happening, he kills dad. of that house, but he was directed by the dad to do so by bribery of
And
crack.
then he was saying, "Where's the wallet? I want the wallet."
Do you have gloves on? No gloves?
Yeah, gloves.
In the parking lot, detectives also find burnt marks on the ground, which leads them to believe someone disposed of possible incriminating evidence. That same day, Randy Tundador Sr. opens his front door to police officers, this time with a warrant for his arrest. Detective Kendall calls Kay to share the news that both Randy Tundador Sr. and his son Randy Jr. are in custody and awaiting trial.
I was gonna be there for the trials, even if they told me that I really didn't have to be there, I was there. So I wasn't only standing there for Joe, I was also standing there for Patrick. I wanted to see justice.
April 2012, the trial begins. The judge and jury are presented with the facts about the case, evidence surrounding the murder of Joseph Morrissey and the attempted murder of his wife and son, but no one knows yet the details of what the family went through. Although Patrick is too young to testify, the jury is shown his interrogation footage. For the first time, Patrick's ordeal is shared with the world. His story begins 2 years earlier, on the night of April 5th.
I know earlier you said you knew something about some robbers or something?
Yeah.
At around 11:30 at night, Patrick is awoken by screaming in the family room. Alone in his parents' bed, he can hear his mom and dad pleading with a stranger. Patrick is terrified. He lays quietly under the covers, while listening attentively to what is happening in the other room. When he hears the front door close, the house falls silent. For what seems like an eternity, Patrick stays quiet, frozen by fear. He lies motionless in the spot his father sleeps in, yet his parents are gone. He doesn't know where.
At that point, he said he wanted to go to the ATM to get money out. He goes, "Remember, if you do anything stupid, I have the gun and I have your kid and I have your husband and your kid's with people back there."
At home, Patrick hears footsteps outside his window, but doesn't dare look. He hides under the blanket until he hears the front door open again. When he recognizes his parents' voices, he stands up in the bed, ready to run after them. But instead, he sees them being forced into the master bedroom with towels on their heads. His mom is crying, terrified. Patrick can see the man threatening them has a gun, as the man tells them to kneel beside the bed.
And he put these little time
Right.
things on my mom and my dad. So they
Extremely
couldn't
sad.
walk.
Patrick doesn't understand what's happening. His parents can't see him, but as his dad kneels at his side, Joe Morrissey speaks to his son and asks him calmly, "Patrick, just lay down and pretend that you're asleep. Please, do it for Daddy." These will become Joe Morrissey's last words to his son before his murder.
Then the guy came over and said to Joe that he had to go with him.
As Joe is taken into the family room, Patrick continues to pretend, like his father asked, but he can still hear him when his father begs for his family's life. And then, silence.
Even when the man was dying, he was fighting for his life and trying to protect my mom and Patrick.
For a long while, Patrick lays on his side, with his eyes closed. He can hear his mom next to him, crying, but he doesn't move. All he can do is listen, hoping to hear his father's voice again, but he never does. In the stillness of the house, Patrick starts to hear the flickering flames of a fire in the kitchen when his mom wakes him up. She's still tied up at her ankles and wrists, and Patrick is the only one who can save her. He runs to his mother's craft room through the rising smoke and grabs a pair of scissors to cut her bonds.
I saved my mom and got the scissors to cut those.
Wow, you're like a hero.
My mom said.
In the courtroom, Patrick's account of what happened to Joe Morrissey and his family has left everyone speechless. The night he lost his father, the loving man who adopted him, Patrick followed in his footsteps and saved his mom's life. He didn't know it back then, but he would have made his father proud.
I was like so scared. He never answered me. I kept calling him and he didn't answer me.
As Kay leaves the stand, it's now Randy Tundador Jr.'s turn to speak. To everyone's surprise, not only does he confess to the crimes, but he also testifies against his own father.
The fact that he would sit here and say that it was me and my brother who did this and planned this, I feel like that's wrong. You shouldn't You shouldn't do anything to hurt your kids. I think that father's job is to protect his kids, not to.
That's sad to know that your own blood, your own father, would turn on your sons. Diabolical, bro.
To hurt his kids.
Randy Tundador Sr. betrayed his own sons to save himself, while Joe Morrissey shielded his family before his death. The verdict is unanimous. Randy Jr. is sentenced to 40 years in prison for his role in Joe Morrissey's death. His father, Randy Sr., is found guilty of 10 felony charges, including arson, armed robbery, kidnapping, attempted murder, and first-degree murder. He is sentenced to death.
I remember the bailiff putting the handcuffs after he was found guilty, and the click of those handcuffs is something that I still don't forget.
Sean has lost everything, his brother and father, because he chose to do the right thing for Patrick and his mom. But in doing...
Wow. Father is sentenced to death. Younger brother, older brother. Man, oh my goodness. Talk about seeing like your whole family crumble in front of you, bro.
So, he also broke his father's cycle of abuse.
I'm proud of Sean. I'm not sure if we would have had Randy Sr. convicted if we didn't have that recording.
Sean Tundador is a very brave person. In all of this hatred, he was trying to do a little bit of good.
If you think I'm a snitch and I didn't do the right thing, then you're just as bad as the guy that committed that murder. So I don't care.
As for Patrick and his mom, their lives are what pays tribute to Joe Morrissey.
I definitely feel Patrick is my hero. He not only saved my life, but also helped me save his life.
They continue to support each other and will not let a father's sacrifice be forgotten.
I wanted other people to see that they can survive. And I think my son also does the same thing.
Patrick and his mom Kay are living proof that, even after tragedy, there's a life worth living.
Man.
This is not a normal Christmas morning.
That was tough. That one was tough. That's crazy. Yeah, wow. That little man. Trust me, I've had a lot of deaths in my family. Boy. But blessings to that little kid and their family, and to the older son when cannibal killers spot the next meal. That's crazy.
You know what? Most online coaches have it all wrong.
Really?
They're pushed.
Or evening to respond to a peculiar claim. They had no idea what they would soon uncover would reveal a horrific and gruesome crime. In a chilling turn of events, detectives were left to puzzle out not only if someone had committed the crime, but if they'd resorted to cannibalism following a bizarre accident, or if in fact the stomach-churning act had been the fulfillment of a fantasy and an unhealthy obsession with serial killers. On the evening of June 8, 2014, Jason Walker was walking across the yard of his rural Tennessee home when he heard a voice call his name from somewhere in the yard. Jason turned, slightly impatient. It was 6:30 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, and he was eager to get on with his preparations for the upcoming week. Looking to the adjacent yard, he saw his 37-year-old neighbor, Gregory Scott Hale, standing at the fence and motioning for him to come closer.
Like, the mind of a cannibal, like, you're just looking at people and you're like, this dirty human being looks absolutely delicious. I don't see the appeal. I don't get it.
Jason sighs inwardly but approaches the short chain-link fence separating them anyway, having no idea that the conversation he was about to have would be one of the most horrifying of his life. "Where's your backhoe?" Scott says by way of greeting. Jason replies that it isn't there, and he won't have it back for a few days. Scott appears somewhat irritated by Jason's response, prompting him to ask why Scott is suddenly so interested in his backhoe. Scott, in response, makes a tasteless and gruesome joke about needing it to hide the evidence. Jason, nonplussed, stares at him in silence, prompting Scott to continue by pointing to the 2 5-gallon buckets sitting just a few feet away, near Scott's burn pit. He explains that he tried burning everything in the burn pit, but it hadn't worked, so he figures he should just bury it all as fast as possible. Jason listens to this reasoning for the use of his backhoe before growing tired of his weird neighbor's stupid joke, and abruptly telling Scott he needs to go and that he'll talk to him later. 3 hours later at 9:30 p.m., Sheriff's Corporal Brad Roberts is sitting at the front desk of the Coffee County Sheriff's Department when a man approaches, tense and anxious to speak with someone immediately. Corporal Roberts tells him to come back first thing tomorrow morning, but the man is insistent. It's Jason Walker, and he needs the police to listen to the joke his neighbor has just told him, because the longer he's thought about it, the less it started feeling like a joke. At first, the corporal is skeptical as it sounds ridiculous. Violent crime is almost unheard of in tiny Coffee County. But Jason is so adamant, so sure, that the deputy starts getting a sick feeling as well. He radios for 2 more officers, Deputy Rainey and criminal investigator Bundy, to accompany Jason back to his home to check out the story. Upon arriving at Jason's property, investigators made sure to come in through the back, driving without headlights so as not to alert anyone in the Scott household. Jason and the 2 officers walked through the darkness, shining their flashlights through the chain-link fence to illuminate the 2 5-gallon buckets, their bright white plastic almost glowing in the dim light. C.I. Bundy picks up a garden hoe lying in Jason's grass and uses it to reach over the fence and snag the handle of the closest bucket, lifting it over to their side. Grasping the lid, he peels it off to reveal the ghastly contents, causing all 3 men to reel back in horror. It's a woman's severed head and hand. 3 days earlier, on July 6th, CCTV footage at Oak Liquor shows a woman entering the store at around 3:30, striding in confidently and heading to the back of the store before stopping and looking around hesitantly. This is Lisa Marie Hyder, and unbeknownst to everyone in the store, this is her last day alive.
Wow.
She scans the back shelves, curling her long auburn ponytail.
That dude just said, oh wow, I guarantee you she tastes like a piece of steak. Like, what?
Around her fingers and adjusting her large black sunglasses before walking up to the man who has just passed her in the aisle. She isn't from here. She's only traveled up from where she lives in Dunlap, Tennessee to spend time with her ex-husband and 2 young children.
Wow.
The youngest of which is only a year old. Just before entering the store, Lisa had been on the phone with her ex-husband, trying to get a ride from where she was to the house, but he was unloading a truck in Huntsville and couldn't get to her until he was finished. Lisa was stuck where she was, and she needed a ride, which is why police suspect she approached the man in the liquor store. As for why she chose the liquor store, according to her ex-husband, Lisa had been allegedly struggling recently with alcoholism, which is why they'd split up a few months earlier. Though she had struggled with a dependency to alcohol before, a recent devastating piece of news had kicked her problems into overdrive. Lisa had been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and had only been given 6 months to live.
Wow.
Lisa was reportedly beyond devastated by the news, drinking to cope and apparently end her life faster, spiraling emotionally and behaving more.
Well, you did it. Who would have thought you would have been gone because you got eaten?
Recklessly than she usually did. As she's talking to both the man and the cashier, she adjusts her sunglasses and for a brief moment, a black right eye is visible. How she received this particular injury is still unknown, but it would pale in comparison to the injuries she would receive later that night, because the man she's speaking to and will eventually exit the liquor store with is Gregory Scott Hale. Back in Jason's yard, C.I. Bundy and Deputy Rainey are radioing for backup, ordering for crime scene units to be deployed immediately, and for search warrants to be written. As backup arrives, they head into the Scott residence to place Gregory Scott Hale under arrest, finding him sleeping on a couch in one of the filthy garages. Given what they've just discovered in the white buckets, the detectives were no doubt disturbed by the items Scott has decided to use to decorate this space. These items were later discovered to be old Halloween props from a haunted attraction Scott had worked the previous year. Scott makes no attempt to resist, and when initially confronted, admits to being the one who killed the woman and had placed her limbs and head in the 2 buckets, and had buried the rest of her in the burn pit nearby. Police take him in, and the following audio is the never-before-heard interview from that night. It has been analyzed by a licensed professional counselor.
Scott, you were talking to James out there at your house a minute ago, and he advised you of your rights. Okay, I'm Chad Parton. I don't know if you remember me or not. I worked with your mom up here for many, many years.
Chad Parton working with Scott's mother would almost certainly imply she'd worked as a member of law enforcement. But while Scott's mother, father, and son all being mere feet away asleep in the house while Scott committed this murder, none of their statements or information have ever been released.
Anyway, I'm going to go over your rights again, this time since we're up here in the office, okay? If you decide to answer any questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the right to stop answering at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk with a lawyer, okay? This isn't a mission, and it's just that we advised you of your rights, okay? It's right there, Scott.
Unless it's over. Well, I know you're getting into some details there. She kind of skipped ahead pretty good bit. How'd you meet this girl?
She came up to me at the liquor store and said, can I go home with you?
Here in town?
Yeah, at Oak.
What day was this?
Friday. Is this the girl that you brought in to the house? I mean, your mom and dad.
That's like making a deal with the devil. Like that's
the home detectives are referring
crazy.
to would be that of Scott's mother and father, as 37-year-old Scott had lost his job sometime prior and moved himself and his 14-year-old son into his parents' house. According to a narcissistic narrative spun by Scott, which he repeatedly mentions and embellishes throughout the interview, Lisa had apparently immediately found him so attractive that day. She immediately begged him to take her to his home and had decided she wanted to live with him in his mom's house before they had even left the liquor store. Then, once reaching the house and sitting in the grimy garage where Scott kept all of his Halloween decorations, she apparently couldn't keep her clothes on, and Scott had to repeatedly ask her to put her shirt back on because his parents might return from picking up his son at any minute.
Did you
That's
know
a weird
paying your bills on
situation,
time-
yo. I highly doubt that the murderer was just like. That kind of switches up a little bit because now she's like pressing the narrative to go talk to this guy, and this guy's just like, whatever. I guess I'll eat her. Like, what? Oh, whoops.
Whom, according to her clothes on, and Scott had to repeatedly ask her to put her shirt back on because his parents might return from picking up his son at any minute. Considering Lisa was only in Manchester that day to meet with her children, whom, according to those who knew her, she adored more than life itself, it seems far more likely she simply asked Scott for a ride, and the rest of this story is a fabrication, though it's likely we'll never know for sure.
Made what I was drinking on, and she got her a pint of 100 proof vodka, and you can come hang out with me. And then she got in her head that she could just move in, and Mom ain't gonna let that happen, We did have, it was consensual, and she wanted to be choked, and us being drunk, and
Was this Friday night or was this
Friday night, it got carried away, and I guess I strangled her, and
Where was y'all at when this happened?
in my garage.
Was you using a rope or
Hands in a shirt. The shirt's in the garbage can in the garage.
At this point in the interview, Scott once again begins boasting about how into him Lisa was, describing in explicit detail how much she wanted him, how turned on she was by his tattoos, not once mentioning his thoughts or feelings concerning her. It's unclear why Scott is so desperate to convince the detectives that Lisa was interested in him that he's making up unconvincing details. He may be trying to make sure he isn't on the hook for assault, or it's just the narcissistic side of his personality coming
He's just a
through.
narcissist.
Either way, detectives just keep trying their best to keep him on track.
She was definitely drunk.
You just had to show me
Super
that you
drunk.
done that. You just.
Do you understand what 100 proof vodka is? I don't care. 100 proof anything. 100 proof? 100. I'm not talking about 29% proof. 100% proof. Oh my gosh. I think 100 proof is like 70% alcohol or something like that.
And then I got off, I guess she didn't. She's like, keep choking me. And I kept on. I put a shirt around her neck and tightened it up. And, she's supposed to have, when it was, and she never fought. She never did. And next thing you know, she's dead. And I'm like, well, this is great. And I guess, I don't know.
So his first, let me chop her up real quick. Like, the best thing to do is to actually call the police, because the more time that goes on, the more guilty you'll be. You could have told him that. You've probably been under heavy pressure, but still, you chopped her up and put her in a bucket, bro.
Got scared or nervous, or I don't know.
Scott's account of strangulation is interesting because, according to the autopsy, the soft tissue of the neck above the fourth cervical vertebrae are examined. No soft tissue hemorrhage is seen. The hyoid bone and thyroid cartilage are intact. No contusions of the neck are seen. While the autopsy does conclusively rule that Lisa's death was caused by homicidal violence, no single cause is listed. There were no drugs other than alcohol in her system, and her lungs showed no evidence of smoke inhalation. So exactly how Scott ended her life, or why he would feel the need to lie about the exact manner of her death, is unknown.
What happened after that, Scott? I mean, you realized that she had passed. Did you try to give her CPR or anything? Did you try to resuscitate her or anything?
No, I don't know how to do CPR.
Okay.
I smacked her on the face a few times, and
This guy.
I opened up her eyes, and her eyes were not all the way shut.
Yeah.
And covered, and then moved it. Her pupil didn't dilate or move or nothing. I've been wanting to go into a psychiatric hospital because I've already been having urges. Man, they've just been getting greater and greater, and I don't know if it's what, but I guess before I could get to one. So I'm watching a lot of serial killer stuff. I don't know if that was getting in my head.
No, it's always the people that fantasize about serial killing. Watch out for people that just overly obsess with just murderous, scary movies all the time. All the time? That's crazy.
I've been having some crazy things happening at the house, like as far as unexplainable, supernatural, whatever. I suffer from sleep paralysis, not sleep apnea, but paralysis. I'll come to, I'm completely paralyzed and I can't move.
Enlisted is a large-scale.
Hey, if you know what sleep paralysis is, it is something serious for sure. I know it personally. It's pretty terrifying. It's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, but paralysis, I'll come to, I'm completely paralyzed and I can't move.
Despite Scott's best efforts to make himself seem troubled or possibly insane, what he's describing isn't a disorder, as it happens to people fairly regularly.
But you're conscious.
Yeah, and
this is crazy.
Not this last time it happened, but the time before. Because I looked it up on the internet and I found out a lot of people that's claimed to be abducted by aliens suffer from it.
Bro, what is this on? Like, what is he? What are we talking about right now?
Also looked up, it was a demon. Man, anybody who knows my reputation knows I'm into the dark stuff. Time before it happened, I come to, it was a deep paralysis, and I could hear something above me breathing, and something slid my fan. The way I was laying on the bed, something slid my fan all the way over, like where I look over laying down. Fan stayed running, and that's impossible because that cord's barely long enough to plug in where it was. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, I've had a headache constant. It's been about 2.5 months, and a beeping sound for about 2 weeks. I had an episode, give or take, a week ago, and the beeping sound's back in my head. And it's just ever since then, it's just, my thoughts ain't been right.
Yeah.
How long have you been out of rehab?
This question posed by Detective Cheryl seemingly comes out of nowhere and isn't mentioned at any point in the interview before or after now. Since both of the detectives seem to know Scott from before this crime, it might just be prior knowledge.
I left it. I didn't even stay 24 hours because...
How long ago was it been when you went there?
About 2 Februaries ago.
You ain't used any meth in the past couple of months or nothing like that?
Mm-mm.
No pills?
I took an Adderall.
When did you take it?
Maybe a week ago.
Pretty much all you've been doing is drinking, man.
Drinking, smoking weed. I like to do Percocets and Hydros, but I don't take those to get high on them. I've abused my body so much, I hurt.
So once you realize that and she's there and you're like, okay, how long did you sit and think, or?
Did you call anybody, tell your parents? Or?
Mm-mm.
So what happened from there?
I covered her up with a blanket on my love seat. You know, I'm pondering what to do, which I should have just called y'all, but another part of me was wanting, you know, was like, you done went this far, you know, and that's when I pulled her off love seat and I put her underneath the boat.
The love
I
seat?
threw some stuff on top of her, so in case mom or dad walked out there and looked to see if she was there, you know, because, you know, I walked in and told mom, I was like, well, she's gone. She got mad because I wouldn't stand up to you and about her staying here, and she just took off walking. I waited till they went to sleep, and I guess I just let my twisted side take over. I do have personality issues.
It's unknown what Scott's official
He definitely
diagnoses
does like
are,
to talk about himself.
but given his potential parasitic lifestyle and the seeming lack of emotion here, it would be tempting to guess that he has a form of antisocial personality disorder. However, without knowing his full history, it's hard to be certain.
After they went to sleep, I pulled her out from underneath the boat, and I was gazed on her for a minute. I laid down beside her and was just touching.
Mm-hmm. Was she still warm?
She was starting to lose it, and I forgot what the word is when the blood settles.
Rigor.
No, that's
Pulling.
stiffening.
Pulling.
Yeah, and there's already, you know, splotches. And she was starting to get a little rigor mortis, but not too bad. Her arms, you know, they still kind of, when I drug her out, because I grabbed her by her ankles, and her arms still kind of, but her legs was a little stiff. In my head, I was thinking maybe she's just faking. There's still a part of me that was hoping.
Maybe she just passed out or something?
Yeah. There's another knife in the garage. It's about this long, gray blade. Got a machete handle with duct tape on it. And I worked at a slaughterhouse for 6 years, so I know where to go to, you know, any deer hunter or anybody like that that's skinned, you know, you know how to feel the joints. And
This is an interesting justification he tries to make several times throughout the interview, trying to downplay his actions as a totally normal thing any deer hunter or slaughterhouse employee would be able to do, as though there are many people in these fields that would even think of doing something this horrendous.
Right.
In reality, very few people, regardless of their profession or skill in butchering animals, would even know where to begin when faced with the task of applying their skills to the body of a fellow human being.
that was taking too long, but I did. I started with her head. I cut her head off first.
Did you put any plastic or anything down, or you just standing right there on the floor?
No, that floor was covered with blood.
You moved the carpet out of there? I think there's green carpet or...
There's some blue carpet in there. I was going to pull it up, and my knife wasn't sharp enough
The pocket knife I got off the...
to do what I was wanting to do quickly. So I got the axe, cut off her hands, or at least I busted the bone with the axe, and then I used the knife and I cut off her feet.
Bear in mind that up to this point, Scott has maintained that he had a woman die in his home accidentally, and panicking went about disposing of the body in the quickest way he knew how. This next part, however, reveals the true depth of his depravity, and is one of the most sickening and disgusting confessions we've ever heard.
And I was going to eat some of her, so I kind of cut off some of her, rump and part of her.
I don't know how old y'all are, but if you know what Cow and Chicken is, it's a show, it's an animated show called Cow and Chicken. They are the first show and the only show that's ever ate a plate of butts. I kid you not. Like, look it up. It came on Cartoon Network. It's literally a cow and a chicken, their mom and dad. You could not see the top of their body. It was only half of them. But they would eat a plate of butts. And that's exactly what went through my head when he's like, I just cut off a piece of the rump. Like he cutting off a piece of a pig or something. He got some rump meat.
Disposing of the body in the quickest way he knew how. This next part, however, reveals the true depth of his depravity and is one of the most sickening and disgusting confessions we've ever heard.
I was going to eat some of her, so I kind of cut off some of her, rump and part of her backstrap.
Backstrap is a term used by hunters to describe the long strip of muscle that runs parallel to the animal's spine.
That's crazy.
And is a particularly prized cut of meat in big game for being the most tender and flavorful, because it isn't a muscle often used by four-legged animals.
This $64 high-tech
So
device
they
is
just-
the last allergy relief.
This boy just... I'm trying to get the
Are
most
not four-legged game animals and therefore cannot be split into similar cuts of meat. There's no telling what muscles Scott actually tried hacking out of Lisa's body. But just the fact he thought of doing this at all and goes on to use these terms to describe her body shows how little regard he holds for her and the life he took. Detectives are understandably thrown by this.
See, did you cut her backstrap out?
Part of it.
Did you keep any of it?
It's all in those buckets.
This is interesting because according to...
This is the harshest, criminal act that's been done in this county, so... I would figure so, or life, but, I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know.
And what exactly Scott is referring to is unknown. But his words flow too smoothly here compared to his other lies, so it seems that regardless of what he managed to actually do, he viewed Lisa as little more than an animal to be slaughtered. He went out of his way to cut out what he thought would be the tastiest portions of her.
The body's underneath the fire pit.
What about the legs? Are they in the buckets or in the fire pit?
Both.
You got a refrigerator or anything up there in your garage? Any pieces or anything up there?
No. Now I flipped her over, and I cut up her belly, and reached up and cut her heart out.
What'd you do with it?
I slung it.
Was it out in the yard somewhere?
Did you sling it straight?
Why did he say it like that, though? I slung the heart. You know that's a human heart, right? Bro, this... Oh my gosh. The way he... the verbiage that he's using.
I was like where those buckets are, there's a fence.
Meat slinger.
Because Mom was coming out. And
So you just sort of slung it across the driveway?
She kept saying, but Mom and Dad was noticing them talking about, what's Clyde keep smelling, what's Clyde keep smelling.
Clyde seems to be the family dog, though this isn't confirmed.
And this was Friday night?
And this was today. And I went and built a fire, and I tried to burn her remains, and I was going to bury the head, and the other body parts.
So the pieces that you cut, the back strap and whatnot, you went ahead and burnt them, or are they in a bucket too?
They're in the buckets.
They're in the buckets. But you never did fry any of her up or cook any of her or nothing, or did you ever eat any of it?
Yeah.
You did? What part did you eat?
Piece of meat off the leg that while she was in the fire.
While it was cooking. How big a piece do you think it was? Okay. About the size of an egg?
Yeah.
Was it cooked up pretty good, or was it still semi-raw?
It was juicy. It didn't taste like blood, though. I mean, it tasted like a charcoal piece of steak.
Similarly to how Scott was trying to convince the detectives of Lisa's burning passion for him, he also seems to be trying to convince them that what he did wasn't despicable or utterly insane, because she just tasted like steak.
Well, let me ask you this. Before you cut her up, or any time during you cut her up, did you drink any of her blood, or did you have with her again?
No.
Okay. So basically what you done, you just got busy of trying to dispose of her. Did you take any other organs out? Just the heart? Okay.
If you really weren't sure what she was dead, why didn't you call somebody to come up there and check on her?
Because something else is in control.
So in a way you wanted her to be dead?
You have to go. Have a
I
nice
don't
night.
know what was
Hey,
going on
I
in my
appreciate you
head.
very much. Thank you for stopping by. Hey, my heart goes out to you. Have a wonderful night. Thank you. Good night. Hey. Good night. Good night.
It's curious that Scott keeps mentioning how he wasn't in control of his actions while at the same time providing excruciating detail on exactly what those actions were,
It was just
and at times, exactly why he did them. It's possible that he may be trying to set up a half-hearted attempt at an insanity defense throughout the interview,
Sounds like
but
it.
isn't really sure how to go about it.
Had she made you mad or anything that night?
Not really. She just irritated me a little bit.
It's clear that detectives are trying to find some possible motive for this murder and the
right back.
horrific acts that swiftly followed, as it seems unlikely that it was simply an accident. As it turns out, the next part may...
Hey, stop. Yeah. The moment I left. What's going on?
Women try to hide it. However,
What y'all guys do? What did y'all guys do? I just stepped away for a moment. Y'all messed with thing.
Last time that I talked to you after Tales, I can't remember if you was telling me that you was reading books about serial killers or if it was the ladies you was telling me about.
Wasn't
you reading some books at one time?
I was just studying about them, just watching like biographies.
What's your favorite movie to watch as far as serial killers?
No, I was doing the biographies, the real stories, and I'd look up on the internet.
Like Jeffrey Dahmer or...
Yeah, my favorite one is Richard Ramirez.
Ramirez, was he the one that
he was a Night Stalker.
Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker, was an American serial killer who terrorized the Southern California region in the mid-80s, killing at least 13 people and assaulting countless others. According to some articles on this case, Scott reportedly wrote on his Facebook page on the day of Ramirez's death, "R.I.P. Night Stalker, wish I could have met you." However, this couldn't be verified.
The Night Stalker, that's right. With John Wayne Gacy or...
I've read about Gacy.
Yeah.
I mean, I got on a bad serial killer kick a few years back, and that's all I put on my Facebook was just videos, like, because I don't listen to exactly what you call mainstream music. And, you know, I find videos of serial killers and, you know, by different bands where they're playing and, you know, this video footage of different killers. And I told her, I was like, I'm wanting to check into a psychiatric hospital and just thinking about it too much.
This admission is very interesting, as it could suggest that Scott had in fact fantasized about committing the same types of depraved acts as the serial killers he had an admittedly unhealthy obsession with, which may explain why he was so quick to start destroying Lisa's body so soon after her supposedly accidental demise. Detectives seem to start thinking along the same lines, as their next few questions focus on the ideas presented by the idea Scott may have been acting out serial killer fantasies.
I guess things went sour before I could get to one. Moccasin Ben always kicks me out. I'll be there a day or 2 or 3.
You're fine going on.
Yeah.
Is this the only person that you ever heard like that?
Yes.
You ever tried doing anything else? Dogs, cats?
I'm an animal lover.
I thought you had a dog up there at one time.
Yeah. I mean, I worked in a slaughterhouse, but...
Where'd you work out, Champions?
Worked there on and off for 6 years.
For Charlie and them out there?
Mm-hmm. We had a bad falling out.
So, when you were having with her and she wanted you to start choking her out, what was your thoughts? What was going through your head then? Were you thinking, this is my opportunity, I'm just going to choke her out and live out one of my fantasies, or...
Pretty much.
Opportunity was a knocking, wasn't it?
Yeah. You know what's... we was going to go to a different damn liquor store, too. And we was right there about to pull in. She goes, "What?" She goes, "You can't go to Oak, can you? You owe that woman money." I was like, "No, I paid her off." So she just went all the way to Oak Liquor instead of stopping at West Mead.
Maybe it was fate. Who knows?
This last statement seems to be Detective Parton taking a weak step at one of the principles of the Reed technique, perhaps presenting an alternative theory to get Scott to admit to more details because the alternative makes the crime sound not that bad. It's at this point that the interview deviates from Lisa's cold-blooded murder and takes a rambling turn into Scott's personal life, starting with the other failed relationships with women he's had in the past and the misdemeanor charge for possession of drug paraphernalia that was still pending at the time of the murder, none of which, of course, were ever his fault. It's interesting to note that he blames the paraphernalia charge entirely on the woman he was seeing at the time, saying,
"Oh my gosh." Yeah. I think after this one, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. Already kind of started late, but it's all right. I'm gonna be back on stream later on. Well, for some people, it's the following day. I only have like 19 minutes until the next day, but I'm gonna be streaming later on today. I want to try to make it earlier. Probably around like 3 or 4 p.m. So.
Man, this girl hooked up on a blind date. She was from Winchester.
Pacific time.
Somebody called the police or something and said that I was dealing drugs and all this. And I ain't no drug dealer. You know, I'm a user.
This seems to be a running theme in Scott's life, that he never does anything wrong.
I'm a user.
The bad things that happen to him are never his fault, and that he's so irresistible to crazy women, they all immediately want to live with him. The detectives offer no comment on this, instead trying to steer Scott back to the matter of Lisa, and while Scott does answer their questions, it's now only between stories about himself, random details on his life, or any random thought that seems to cross his mind.
I don't read on here about serial killers and stuff like that, but you thinking about keeping any body parts at all?
It crossed my mind. And I thought about keeping their skull because, you know, I'm all the time
this boy likes to
messing with
talk.
masks and Halloween decorations, stuff like that. And I was like, you know.
For those of you keeping track, Scott is now referred to the victim as a slaughtered animal and is now comparing her to a Halloween decoration, further indicating how little regard he had for Lisa Hyder's life. Eventually, the exhausted detectives wrap up the nearly 3-hour interview by reading Scott's overwrought confession back to him, and he signs it. Gregory Scott Hale pleaded guilty to first-degree murder on January 15, 2015.
All right, here comes
And though on the surface this may seem as though he was finally taking responsibility for his actions, in recent years he claims he was charged and sentenced unjustly on the grounds of religious persecution, the religion in question implied to be Satanism. However, there's no concrete evidence that Gregory Scott Hale was a practicing theistic or atheistic Satanist, or were there any signs of satanic literature, paraphernalia, or religious symbolism found anywhere near the crime scene.
I mean, you don't have. I mean, he got this.
From a crudely rendered Leviathan cross scribbled on a sheet of notebook paper on a dusty desk.
It don't matter.
Some point to one Leviathan cross as a sign that Scott was a practicing Satanist. However, on this same desk, in a place of equal prominence, there was a Star Trek fan collective Borg DVD. But few have pointed to this as evidence that he worshipped the Borg Queen. Scott never mentioned Satanism or any other alternative belief systems in his interview. While a handful of the news articles written after his arrest briefly bring up Satanism as a possible motive, it appears they're basing the assumption that Scott worshipped the devil on his love of metal music, the album covers of which adorn his Facebook page, and dark comedy. Scott also goes on to complain that all of the articles only include the bad things about him, allegedly writing, "Y'all only put up the bad. I've been told by a couple of people who really know me and who wrote positive things about me, or said positive things, and for some reason that never gets published. But people who don't really know me that speaks only diluted BS that is secondhand BS and bad about me. Y'all want to smear that all over the paper. Regardless, the family of Lisa Marie Hyder can rest assured that the man who brutally murdered and dismembered this young mother of 6 will rot in prison for the rest of his life.
And ate a piece of the rump. Crazy, bro. This dude's... I wouldn't even call it disassociation, but his social awareness is abysmal. If not a negative, like 50,000. He probably had a graduating class of 20. Seeing like the city that he lives in, or town, whatever you want to call it. This whole story kind of had me like a little floored. I was just like, I almost have nothing to say, because it's just one after another. It's just like, oh, he ate the rump meat, and then he cut the sliver of the back, and then the what he said, slung the heart, bro. What? Crazy. Killed and dismembered a woman, and still wants people to talk good about him. I'm saying, like, what are we really talking about right now? Like, you're just admitting to the crime of murder, and not just murder. You had sex with, and he, the thing with narcissists, they do not know that they're narcissists. Delulu, you know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness, man. People are just absolute bonkers when a killer vlogs his murders. Oh, I think I've seen part of that before. You know, they're doing when predators realize they've been caught. Let me see it. I like To Catch a Predator things. Those are funny. Like the show To Catch a Predator, and then like the channels where they do like catching a predator. Those are actually really good. I'm definitely gonna do that next stream. Yeah. I love when they catch predators, bro. I'd be like, beat their ass, bro. Let's see. Why did they miss this? I killed him 15 years. Comments. Appreciate you keeping me company. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check out all the videos. If you haven't already, hit the bell icon for updates when I post, because you know your boy be posting every single day. But I'm gonna try to stream every day, because I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to Vegas in May. It's already May. I'm going to Vegas on the 21st of this month, May, till the 28th. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna try to post videos ahead of time, so then by the time I go to Vegas, I don't have to. I'm gonna be on to live stream every day before then. I have a song to recommend, but it's not popular. Would you still react to it? What genre? What genre is the song? What genre is the song? Genre. K-pop, rap. I definitely can. So, The only thing is that any of the music now gets copywritten. Yeah. So this is why I've been funny enough pun straying away from from a lot of music reactions, is because my videos. Ooh, someone's running. People be running from the cops here all the time. We have a heavy police situation. But hey, all right, so check me out. So you see all the red, and then where it says copyright, these videos are all blocked. All these videos are blocked because most of them have copyright, or they have like music on it that I can't use. So that's why I kind of stopped doing a lot of the music reaction. I still will every now and again. Just put the recommendation down below. I'll screenshot it because I still want to do music recommendations. It just wouldn't be as much. But you see all the red and copyright, red, copyright, red, copyright. All these are like I can't do anything with them. They're blocked. Especially the ones that say like escrow, they're just waiting to be, you know what I'm saying, exception, ineligible, copyright. Like all these I can't use, none of them. And I got a whole bunch more. Copyright, red, copyright, ineligible. Like all of these, like my most viewed ones, Dunzo, like I can't do nothing with them. Sadly enough, but hey, that is the world we live in. Sad to say, but it's okay. That's why I kind of had to change up the frame of my my videos, is simply because of all that. You'll be following me on there? On where? Where are you gonna be following me at? Serial killer being. What is this? I be saving a lot of these things, and that's what we be watching and stuff. Mom murders daughter and then goes on Facebook Live. Oh yeah, you tripping? I don't know about that one, Chief. But where you be following me at? You say you be following me? Hello? Oh yeah, but also I'm not gonna start streaming on Twitch until October 1st. October 1st is the day when I start streaming on Twitch. The reason why is because I'll be moving. There's going to be a lot of moving going on from like probably end of June or closer. That I'm getting like a whole PC set up, camera set up. Like it's going to be done up. It's going to be like night and day. Oh, Patreon? Oh, yeah. Because I actually got I have a file of videos that I have to start posting. Because I have... The thing that takes the most time is rendering and uploading videos. But yeah, I'm having a whole bunch of videos come through. But yeah, hey, put the recommendation down there so then I can post it on Patreon, because that's where majority of my content's gonna be. And I'm gonna be having a movie night. I'm gonna be having anime night. Be having all just like music videos. I want to do album reactions, like full album reactions. That's what I want to do as well. Like any like Korean, Japanese, K-pop, whatever, full albums, I want to listen to those. Either singles or a group. That's tough. But yeah. What's the music video? Let me look at it. So then I could put it in my watch list. Ooh, this one looks cool. Hey, this looks like my aesthetic, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna save that. Yeah, I was super busy today, so I was only able to record in the morning, but when I wake up, I'm gonna be busting out videos, and this is gonna be one of the first ones I upload on Patreon. So yeah. But yeah, all right. About to hit the hay. Not for me, not for I'm with it. So I'm actually excited. I really want to react to first thing in the morning once I wake up. Yeah, I think this is a dub. I like it. Kind of gives me a Kill Bill aesthetic or an assassin-esque kind of thing going on, like a real kind of dark maybe look, but I like it. It looks cool. But I definitely want to react to it though, for sure. So all right, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Tiana. Am I saying your name right? I keep saying Tiana. Is it Tanea? I think it's Tanea. Tanya. I'm tripping. I don't know why I'm calling it Tanya. Okay. It's Tanya, right? Am I tripping? I gotta be tripping. No! Tane. Is it Tane or Tane? Tane. Okay. Alright, cool. That's what's up. I feel better now. I feel a lot better now. But hey, appreciate you very much. Sorry you almost fell asleep. Hey, look. It's all gravy. Because we're going to be kicking this stream back up soon enough later on today. So have no fear. I'll be back here. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be, it's going to be a dope stream. I want to make it a little bit longer. Probably like, I want to, Tania. Okay, Tania. Okay, cool. That's what's up. I like that. But yeah, we probably gonna do a little bit longer stream tomorrow. I had a lot of errands to run, so I couldn't do too much. I was just like, I gotta get outside and touch grass myself. So, but hey, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. See you guys extremely soon, like a few hours. So, all right.